Hey everybody, welcome to episode 60 of Powerbombshells. I am Sam, that is Mel. We are not your typical broads talking about your typical wrestling, and it's a holiday episode, so whatever you are celebrating today, hope that you have a lovely day, and if you're not celebrating anything at all, thanks for coming to hang out with us, and happy Sunday.
Yeah. Have a great Sunday.
Yes.
I saw in the comments that doesn't guess that he was not bunny ears. Sorry to disappoint. If you can believe it, I do not own a pair of bunny ears and was lamenting the fact. Yeah, I know, but sorry, Brad. It really, honestly, of all the things that we have in the house and have collected over especially the last like 7 or 8 years for Ren Fair stuff, I'm shocked that bunny ears haven't been made.
I am too.
Probably could have made some if I'd thought about it sooner.
Right.
But instead, I'm wearing my Oliver Twist hat because we have some English news to talk about. I'm gonna do so many bad tropes and so many bad accents. You just get ready. I'm gonna sing
Prepare yourselves.
I'm gonna sing Consider Yourself. I'm gonna quote freaking it's gonna be hilarious. Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. Proles. More? Yeah, well, I don't know. Reindeer ears that I wear at work on Christmas Eve. It's tradition. That's good. Bob, when we go to our family Christmas parties, when it has happened, when we've happened in the past, way back in the day, because gay apparel was actually in the song, he would don his gay apparel, and he had a great tweed, like really thick, nice suit, and he has like it has a vest and a red tie, and so one year he did that. One year I'll post the pictures on our Instagram.
Please do.
One year he did a whole Christmas. You know those suits that they make that are all a thing? He's done the Christmas one.
Oh, perfect.
And so we started dressing up for the Christmas parties. So now this is actually, I find this to be a compliment, but a hilarious compliment at the same time, is every time I tell someone I'm going to something, a party, we've got Christmas party or Bob's company party, everybody's like, cool, what are you guys going to wear?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Brad, strong agree. He said Effie needs a Christmas shirt so we can all don our gay apparel.
Seriously, that is a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Next time
get on it, Effie. Listen, Effie has great ideas when it comes to merch. He has so much cool stuff, but this one he needs, it's extremely obvious, and he needs to, even if it's just a wrestling is gay shirt, but like with Christmas lights on it or something, or like in the ugly sweatshirt type of thing.
Oh yeah, no, that would sell like crazy.
Yes.
Yeah,
and somebody, we need to @ Effie and tell him.
We we call them
April, but get on it.
Exactly. No, it would be a Christmas jumper. It'd be a jumper.
Oh yeah,
not a sweater. Sam,
that is true. Yes, because you have your hat on, so yes, it would.
Well, my hat and of course the Wembley Stadium thing.
Yeah,
which is like the biggest.
Well,
news. Yeah, one of them. But I just so I figured I'd go with that theme over Easter. So non-secular. And I'm like, as someone who mostly celebrated Passover growing up and hasn't celebrated much of anything because my husband's a retail manager, like, because we forget it's a holiday sometimes, such is life. So I was like, oh crap, that's right. People have like things they do this Sunday.
Yeah, and this happens to be the second year in a row that like 3 different major like 3 different holidays are happening across
converging
religions for the so I was like, well, it's not just Easter. I was like, there's a whole lot going on, and then I was like, and then
a holy holiday for the Muslim.
Ramadan and Passover and Easter are all
at the same time
for the second year in a row. So it's like, well, if you're hanging out with us today, we appreciate it, and if you're watching us on the replay, we appreciate that too.
Absolutely. It's always nice to see people are checking us out or have that option. Plus they get our full gimmick, man, because then they get to see the hats. They understand most of the jokes a little better because some of them are totally sight jokes. But
Daza said this day and Christmas Day are the only day our shop is closed. Well, I'm glad that you got today off.
That's awesome, though. Oh, that's right. It's a universal. Yeah, that's right. Because
Brad's already on it. Brad's already added Effie about the Christmas shirts.
Brad is a smart
Ideas
person.
in real time. Like we have ideas every week, but like we're in real time. Thank you for that.
That's why we love that Brad is a fan.
Yeah, and we're glad that Brad is back this week and making his return to the live chat. And then Daza is back after. Well, he was back last week, but
wow, we're gonna need to tap Daza a little bit on some of the questions from across the pond, right? I mean,
yeah, that is true.
I'm getting that right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're good.
I think so.
Well, I guess we should just start with that then.
So hey, let's try that again. We can edit this out in post, right?
Sure,
just kidding, joking, haha. So anyway, AEW is running a show that they haven't run under their banner before, but it was the precursor to AEW being a thing. They're running All In at Wembley Stadium, which is the largest, like one of the largest venues on the planet, well-known venues on the planet.
It's a pretty big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Because people, I know a lot of like American fans, especially, were like, "That's his announcement." I'm like, do you not know how big of a deal that is? That this company is 4 years old and is running a huge stadium like that? Because even if they don't sell out 90,000, if they get half that, that's a huge freaking deal. And I was like, and people have to realize England is not huge. Like it's not like there's people are going to be traveling not just from England. They're going to be traveling from obviously the rest of the UK, but Europe as well. It's easy to travel back and forth.
It's inexpensive.
Yeah. And then
there's my Irish friend goes to Royal Crest every year for very little. I mean, and him and his buddies that are local all usually do it together. It's an hour flight from Dublin.
Wow, that's it. It's
less. So it's flying from Detroit to Chicago, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say Charlotte to New York City is an hour and a half.
It's it's amazing. It reminded me when he was telling me, it reminded me of when we flew into Midway from here. It was just about you go out the runway, you get in the air, you are there for long enough for maybe during service, maybe if they're gonna bother. You're getting the notification to sit down and you're landing. I mean,
that's crazy.
Basically, it's under an hour. You spend more time getting to your gates and doing all the other stuff than you do on the actual airplane in that case. But they'll draw a huge, anybody with Europass, well, I know it's going to be weird with them. They are the UK and the Euro, but it's still easy to get there and inexpensive.
Right. Yes.
And
so Colin says that if they get 40,000, they're doing great. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a huge.
A couple of my groups are playing over/under games.
Surprise!
One of them is Gigi's number. We have a bold prediction one and a less than one that was asked to Dave on his episode on Friday, which was 55,000. Which
still pretty damn good,
dude. If you get 5 figures at all, you're doing great. I think, and then the bold prediction is 60.
What did Clash at the Castle do? Do we know? Because that did really well. I mean, obviously they're a little bit.
It was the largest attendance since the Korea show, which is the biggest attendance ever known on paper. But those people had to go.
Yeah, so Daza said in the UK we go nuts for new things and first time appearances in our country. And yeah, that was there's a writer in. There's a writer in one of the from one of the places I write for, and that's what he said too. He was like, he's like, we're starved for American style wrestling, so it doesn't, we don't get that very often. He's like, that's why, like, when WWE comes here, so many people, jump it, they come, and he was like, and so AEW, for the fans that are, into that, and it's a first time thing here, he was like, people are gonna want to check that out. And I saw something, I think it was yesterday, saying that like the signups for because they're gonna do like the you can sign up to get the pre-sale information.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think within hours, like 25,000 people had already signed up for that. And that was before. And they made the point that Dynamite had not even aired in the UK yet because of I believe, if I may be completely
they don't
wrong,
have a deal with the deal that they have with the TV makes it so that it doesn't air live. It doesn't air until Friday night.
Right, which is what I was going to say. Yeah, Friday nights. And so it hadn't even aired yet, and already 25,000 people had signed up, and that's obviously just to get the codes. So obviously, but I was like, clearly the interest is there. And then I mean, and this is obviously without knowing like who's going to be there. And there was something else I was going to say. I got distracted by I heard that's what I was going to say is I heard that hotels in that area are already starting to fill up with reservations that people are going ahead
my
and
friends
booking.
already made. I mean, my friends that are on there have already made their reservations. They've already tried to beat the rush. I mean,
I don't blame them.
They've done the trip a couple times because of Royal Quest, but it was like as soon as it was announced, and it so happens just because, and I mean, this kind of will lead to something that we're also going to talk about, but Jay, knowing that Jay was probably, there was the inclination that Jay was probably premiering on Wednesday night, my friend was up watching AEW with us in that time zone.
Yeah.
And we were laughing because it's like, and so he heard it live.
Oh, nice.
From that time zone, just because he was staying up, because he was pretty sure that we were all pretty sure our group had decided that Jay was premiering that night. And
right. Well, yeah, because he came back, which we'll get to
and that's
in
a big deal for us because,
yeah,
I mean, we're both like, he's the one who got me into New Japan. So, I mean,
right.
that was like.
So, Kenny says that that WWE right now is currently hotter than AEW in Europe, but if they do 40,000, that's a solid number. And he said that it's a European show, so a lot of people come by train to England from Europe, which yes, exactly.
You can do train, you don't have to fly. There's a good Brad.
And Brad, which I've heard that as well, that Brad says that TNA/Impact has always done really great for England shows, which I've heard as well.
I know they'll do great.
Yeah.
To me, it's all of the draw, the big draw is the Euro. But I think they'll be flying. So let's get to Daz's comment here.
So he says, I've never noticed many signs beyond the high ITV ratings that AEW had gained a massive fan following, i.e. people walking around in t-shirts in the same way WWE, WCW, and even say Impact. Sure. And I think that, but now that they're coming, that could change. Maybe that, maybe people will be more into but yeah, it's definitely, it's clearly not the same as market as it is here in the US, but I think it's huge that they're already but there's been demand. Like, I can't tell you how many media scrums I have been on and people are said, when are you coming to England? When are you coming to the UK? When are you coming to Ireland? Like, literally until that announcement was made last year, every single call I was on, that was a question. Literally every single time. So there's definitely the interest is clearly there. Kenny says, I got row 1 bleacher tickets to Forbidden Door in Toronto. AEW is hot in Canada. It's sold out already almost. Yeah, and Mel will be at that show. It's
completely sold out as of this moment. There are secondary market tickets available, but there are no actual tickets available. But there is talk about them opening it up, and that is one of my concerns that I have about some of these things that are coming up. But we'll talk about that at a different time or later.
So Brad says part of the merch issue is that PWT's just recently opened a Europe shop. Shipping there from the US is insane. Yeah, that's what I've heard a lot of people say, that it turned them off from ordering stuff because of the shipping.
Yeah, they better bring a truckload of merch because
I'm sure they will.
They never have enough
They probably will this time. So Daza says, I expect that they will send someone over to do media and build hype and awareness. I really think MJF would be that guy if they dare. If you've got to get MJF, because he's going to complain about their terrible food and he's going to complain about the weather.
Oh, but he can take the piss out of everybody and everybody will love it. No, they'll love it.
They might send Adam Cole because apparently he's their go-to for announcements now. They just they pulled him in and have him announce All Access, and they pulled him in the other day with him and Nigel. And so I tweeted Adam in quotations announcement Cole, baby, because that's like he's the
guy.
But yeah, MJF would be great. Like I would love to say, because that's what he's gonna do. If they send him over there, he's gonna complain about the terrible food and he's gonna complain about the weather and everything else that he can think of. But that would probably be actually a really good idea if they could convince him to go over there. But I'm sure they're going to do, because like the press release that they sent out the same night, I thought it was really interesting because they were talking about how like, oh, this is going to be, a return. And they were like naming like Saraya and I've obviously Nigel McGuinness, but I did notice the last name they put was Anthony Ogogo. So I thought that was interesting that they included him, because I knew he's still under contract. I know he's been dealing with, I think he had eye surgery again like a few months ago, and I know they've been kind of doing that. And I don't know that they meant to, but Kip Sabian was left off that list, and I thought that was kind of interesting. But maybe it's just a press release, so it's not too much.
I mean, they're trying to push their big,
but I was like, yeah, I think that
people like isn't Jamie.
Yeah, and I know Anthony Ogogo is still, as far as I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in England. This is probably a question for them. If Anthony Ogogo is a name that would draw people. Obviously, I know like his credentials coming into AEW, so that maybe that is a name that people would pay attention to, but they don't use him, so I don't know. Thank you, Kenny. Kenny says, good show and Banner Girls. I subscribed. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
That's really rad.
Daza said, I bet when it comes to release time, WWE...
Oh, sorry, my bad.
The WWE doesn't release any European wrestlers for fear they'd get added to a Wembley show. That is not... That would not surprise me.
Especially now. But absolutely not.
Yeah. Daza said, I will say the AEW action figures have always had a decent space at toy shops over here. Oh, very cool.
I think the interest is that I believe, because the independent, especially the independent wrestling scene over there, because of the RevPro people and the OTT people and I'm forgetting the other one and then there's some on the continent proper. The German indie was doing really, really well before everybody I know they're going to do well. And I actually, though I'm reluctant, I started taking the over because I believe if you look at the price of tickets and stuff right now, that there will be a fair number of fly-ins. I actually believe that there will be because it's easy to get to the UK and Ireland from Chicago, Boston, New York. Those are all easy cities. You go through customs on each side. So when we went to Ireland, we went through customs because we went through Chicago, obviously. Right. You check in there. So you just walk right in, basically, when you walk into the country. They run you through naturalization. They're really cute and funny, and it was great and whatever. I mean, and I have been through, it's harder to get back into the U.S., ironically. That's the tougher trip, always. But in my experience, I've been to Germany, and so it did, anyway. But I believe that it would be something that people would be interested in for the reason that because it's an experience. It's one of the most popular, well-known venues on the planet. Right. I mean, it's Wembley freaking Stadium. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, because the press release they put, I believe there's been an indie show since then, but the press release that they put out said that this is the first. I'm wondering
they haven't run wrestling there since 30 WWE.
Yeah, in 30 plus years is what the press release says.
Which would be the 92 superstars. They did a SummerSlam there, I think.
So Brad says Ogogo would be a huge name for media. He's incredibly well known during his boxing career there. That's what I thought. Okay. I was like, I know that he wasn't obviously on the AEW side of things. As far as AEW fans go in the UK, I didn't know how big of a draw, but yes, obviously
they have Tony Storm, they have Jamie Hayter, they have
they've got Saraya, and
giant.
Yeah.
them.
And then bringing in Nigel
They
McGuinness,
can-
obviously.
And then they can draw from, for the undercard, they can pull from Rev Pro, they can pull from.
That's what I've seen some people. I've seen some. I'll get to that in a minute. But Brad said since the original All In was ROH Indies and New Japan, make this All In AEW ROH New Japan and British Indies. Yeah, I've seen some arguments about getting British Indies involved, but I've heard some people say that they don't want to see any of those names involved. They only want to see, and this is not coming from just American. Well, I don't know.
AEW, they want to see AEW people on their AEW.
Yeah,
show.
I've seen both, and there's an argument for both, and so I don't know if they would utilize them for like darks and elevations and things like that. But I'm sure, I mean, there are people there who deserve opportunities and things like that. So, I mean, I think you want to kind of build good faith with them, so you probably would want to see some of the, the indie guys there on these cards. But then I understand also that like you want to see like you said, the AEW talent. But
this is their first time there, so that means that I want to see John Moxley, and I want to see Bryan Danielson, and I want to see Britt Baker, and I mean they are going to want to see the featured.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's the question.
Years.
I don't think that's the question. I think it's just if they want to see any undercard talent indie talent on there at all. Daza says Hater would be awesome to do media because the talk shows here always love having WWE women on. Yeah. And he said,
I see her having that
Peter
belt.
and Britt would be great together. Yeah.
I mean, I see her having that belt till then for that reason.
Yeah.
Which would be great because then you have a long running, like popular woman with the belt. And that is terrible. No.
Yeah. I had one of my friends suggested that they save Stadium Stampede for Wembley. And I was like, oh, that would be
a good idea.
Yeah. And they like do blood and guts at All Out. Or Double or Nothing, rather, since that's before I meant Double or Nothing was what I meant to say.
Yeah, Blood and Guts is still out there in the wind.
And then he was like, and then just hold off Stadium Stampede and then have Stadium Stampede at Wembley. And I was like, that'd
be really fun because you could randomly incorporate like all the big all the Griswold family vacation, look kids, Big Ben, that kind of stuff. So there's a joke for some people and a complete question mark for others.
Daza says break the piggy bank and get Monet to face Hater. I think Monet, she's got to be on one of these cards. I see it being the Forbidden Door card, but maybe it's both. Maybe they do have her. Maybe they can.
I didn't even think about it, but I guess I should have. I guess she probably would be one of the people that should be on the Forbidden Door card, shouldn't she?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's been the argument that some people. I mean, obviously, I think Okada gets a singles match, but then I know one of the dream matches, obviously, we've talked about on here as well, as it would be Okada Monet versus Omega Shida. Has been like the dream match that a lot of people want, which Forbidden Door would be the perfect place for that, depending on obviously storyline wise and things like that. But that would be like if we're booking just pure dream matches that have nothing to do with storyline or anything like that, then absolutely.
Which is what Forbidden Door is. I want to be clear. That's what it is. I know that's what it is. I know I'm going to a supercard. I know I'm going to a dream match show when I go to Forbidden Door.
Don't have to ask what's the story.
For me, it's like I don't
ask what the story is.
I've even discussed this. I was having a good conversation with Jeff in the Dynamite Show Discord channel, and we've been talking about some like his concerns about Forbidden Door and it's like I want to be clear. I know there's going to be no build for this show. This is not an in-storyline show. This is a crossover episode. This is your team and my team playing together and getting I get that. That's what I sign up for.
Right.
Like the All-In show has to be part of storyline. But I do wonder / worry that he's going to, because Forbidden Door is the only thing that's sold out right now. Like Double or Nothing's not sold out. I could get a ticket to Double or Nothing and the Dynamite and Rampage that are.
Yeah.
I could get tickets to all of that right now.
Right.
And none of these shows are available to be sold. But Forbidden Door is sold out. Mm-hmm. Like if they want to open up more seats, they can. But they don't need to. That money's in the bank. It's unrefundable. Right. So is Tony going to blow off Forbidden Door, his side of Forbidden Door, over the rest of this stuff?
No, y'all know how Tony is. No, Tony's no. That's not a no. Tony is not gonna risk his relationship with New Japan by giving them half-ass show to
I just
do
needed
this.
to hear
No.
you say it out loud.
No,
That's
I
all.
don't. No, Tony is so just he takes a lot of pride into these shows because people sometimes will ask him on the media scrums like how matches come together or why he did certain things, and he really enjoys talking about that. So, and I think this is a huge challenge for him because those are two giant shows, not including the pay-per-views, and I don't think he'll half-ass these big shows, especially because New Japan is a partner. And he's not going to want to ruin that relationship by half-assing anything. And then obviously he's not going to half-ass their London debut. Like maybe he puts a little bit more into it, but I don't think he half-asses Forbidden Door. I think they will both be fine. I think they'll both be excellent shows, and they will both be probably competing for AEW Show of the Year like it was last year.
Oh, definitely. The crowd, I actually think Wembley. Yeah. Anyway, it will win.
Yeah, so Brad says the build can be questioned for pay-per-views, but we never need to worry about the final product of the show. Amen, amen, amen. Every single time that is not just you. You have. I think those are valid concerns.
I heard it from my European friend, and I heard it from you, and I just wanted to hear it said out loud.
I understand. Look, those are valid concerns, but I think Brad is correct that Tony.
I know New Japan is going to deliver.
Tony has put up enough goodwill that I think he always follows through at pay-per-views. And he especially, and like look at ROH. Like ROH was one of the best shows of this last weekend. That Super Card of Honor was fantastic.
Oh, that was
even
probably...
with the not great ending.
Yeah, it was that and the Bloodsport show were my favorite two shows.
Yeah, and so right, so I think, I understand where the questions come from, and I don't want to say that they're not valid criticisms or valid concerns, but I think that Tony has showed us enough that he will, and I really just don't think that he's going to try to do anything that could jeopardize anything they do with New Japan. And so I think it's going to be a challenge. Tony is going to see it as a challenge, and he's going to put a lot of pressure on himself to make both of those shows, because he's not going to want to disappoint the Canadian fans, because I mean obviously they're doing a month-long
kicking off an excursion,
right? He's not gonna half-ass that. And then clearly he won't with London, because this has been a show that he's done so well. I mean, that fans have been asking for. So I think it'll be fine.
I have no buyer's remorse whatsoever. I know that Gato will deliver no matter what. It just does make me wonder, do we see them try and negotiate? But even I kind of killed my own premise this morning when I was like, well, what if he negotiates to put the Will Ospreay Kenny thing there, or the Zack Sabre Danielson thing there? Not that those are booked on Forbidden Door, not that those are ever going to be booked on Forbidden Door. Right. I have no idea what's on Forbidden Door. I bought those tickets. I don't care. I know. New Japan has never let me down. Tony has never ultimately let me down.
Right.
If he screwed this up, he would let me down for the first time.
Sure. So I think he knows that, and I think that he knows that that's a huge part, like that they can't.
And especially my demo, he definitely doesn't.
Well, and it's not only that, and also at this point, it's the international fans, because he's going to Canada. He's going to the UK. He can't. It's not just American fans now. Like it's
Look
European
at me being
fans,
pissed off. There's too much good wrestling. I don't get to go to all of it, and I'm mad. I want to go to all of it.
Me too. So Daza says, one thing I guarantee, the Wembley crowd will have some new songs and chants or AEW. Hey, maybe they'll stop singing Judas then.
No, they won't sing Judas. They'll sing their own shit. That's what I love about the UK. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe they'll quit singing. Maybe we don't have to hear Judas.
Oh, the UK and the Irish fans are so much like
they are.
That place. It's a good thing it doesn't have a roof, if I remember correctly, because it would blow the roof off of it. Or no, maybe it does now. I have no idea.
So before I'm going to put Brad's comment back up there in just a minute,
yes,
but Daza says, I'm sure there will be MJF, you're a wanker chant. Please make that happen.
I love their
crowds. European fans, I'm asking.
One of my most favorite indie matches back in the before time was an OTT match, and with Matt Riddle and Will Ospreay had an amazing match, and the crowd was so hot, and their production people are so much fun that they make their venues look like larger than life almost. Yeah. And the crowds were just, the guys, oh my God, their fans were just losing their mind. I'm like, I'm excited for the crowd at that show.
Yeah, they'll be fun
because they wanted it so bad. And I do know, even in our even in our fight game group, we have, obviously, and then other people as well who have been like, I mean, filling us in, you know, the tube runs till this time, and the you know, just about like all of our questions about like how's this going to work, because it's like 2:00 at Eastern is when the pay-per-view would,
is that it's
but
2 o'clock
there's
Eastern.
no, this is the thing we have to remember, at the current, there's no pay-per-view schedule. This is not a pay-per-view. It's
that we know of, but there's also
obviously the money's in
next
pay-per-view.
next Wednesday at 1 p.m. is the Warner Brothers Discovery media call.
Which is a perfect time to share with stockholders that
there is a potential for a streaming thing. Is been the rumor.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I hear that's what I hear.
We'll see. It'll be interesting how they do that. So Brad says, I think the Dynamites around the time of Forbidden Door, All In and All Out might suffer more than the pay-per-views ever would as far as matches go. Probably. They'll still be solid shows. They may be a little lackluster as far as like, what's the story? But
well, it'll be something for people to discuss.
But you know what will happen?
We were joking about how like the guys that were going to be on Forbidden Door, a couple of them would show up on Dynamite and Rampage the week before. Like that was my group was literally joking about not caring about that part, because it's about the card. It's about the night of Forbidden Door being, I mean, it was the best show of last year, so you do have a lot to live up to. And it is going to be one of your regular pay-per-views.
Right.
But you also have to make Wembley important, because it might be a new pay-per-view too.
Right. And I think they will. I do know two things I do know is they will finish the story, and that they'll send the fans home happy.
They will finish the story and send the fans home happy.
I'm just saying.
Dude.
Let me tell you, I'm so glad I'm not having to watch this anymore, because I was heated last Sunday night.
After Cody and the whole,
I was
and
heated.
then did you watch Monday because you
I
couldn't help
did,
yourself? Because I did the same thing. I was like, I don't have to watch this ever again on Sunday night, and then I was like, I'm gonna watch
the only reason I tuned in Monday was on the off chance that Jay White was gonna show up. As well, that too, because we knew Cody was making a phone call.
Yeah.
Well, originally, before somebody got in there and changed everything, originally he was supposed to be seen making a phone call to whoever would be his mystery partner. And so, on the off chance that it was Jay, I wanted to see it. And so,
same. And I wanted to see. I was
there in case I needed to cover anything, and I ended up not needing to. But yeah, and so then I watched it, and I was like, this is Vince written all over it. This whole show is. I was like, the show is terrible. I was like, I'm going back to not watching WWE anymore. I was like, I don't care. And I was like, and they've made me, I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. I'm going back to what I was watching before, which was anything but that.
It did have Vince written and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten all over it.
Nikki can confirm that I was heated.
Thank you. I believe it. I figured you would fall victim to the unfortunate need to watch it for all the same reasons that you just said, and I did the same.
Like, I'm not surprised. It wasn't that I was surprised that it happened, because I've had a feel like I figured that it could, but it's the whole, like, that was the storyline. Like, that is the Bloodline collapse was the story. Cody getting the title was the story. He doesn't. Then there was the bullshit of he has to face more adversity.
No, Sam, we're only in the 30.
Which I was like, that'll be a whole other show if I get into that. But it's been the stupid it's the WWE brain that comes in from all these people defending it. And I was like, I don't know. That's lightning in a bottle. It's lightning in a bottle, and you miss it. He's never going to be that hot again, and you fucked up.
I didn't want to be, and I think that it's important to point out that Paul and I both, a lot of people were giving him shit. Nobody gave me shit at all, because he's more like high profile. But the idea is that we weren't saying we wanted Cody to lose. We were saying we didn't see Cody winning at that juncture.
It's not Cody should have won there, though.
We agreed with that, because that was the thing, is that we both said we want him to win, and we hope that we're wrong. And I mean, I hate to speak, but that was like a conversation we ultimately had, is that I did not want Cody to lose. because I thought it was the fucking dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, I know. We're
Sorry,
gonna get demonetized.
That's my one
over here 'cause-
F-bomb right there.
Listen,
Sorry.
we're mad about it. So
But it was stupid. It was not
dumb. And again, like
It's
this
the
is nothing
reason
against Roman
why.
Reigns. Like I love Roman Reigns. I have been a Roman Reigns fan from the beginning.
he degraded his part.
I wanted him to. I was championing him to turn heel like 2 years before they even turned him heel. Like I love Roman. This is not it. And then putting him with Brock Lesnar is definitely not it. So, and I feel like it's punishment from Vince because
of course
he's pissed off at him. Just like it, I'm almost positive the reason Bayley got pulled on Monday is because she publicly supports Mercedes. I think that's there's a question. I don't think that I mean, it's possible, but I think he pulled her from TV because
I think he pulled her from TV, but I think she left after that.
I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth.
I don't know.
I would not. I will put it this way. I will not be surprised if she did.
I hope
I hope she did, and B, I will not be surprised.
There's way more opportunity out there for her, as Mercedes has shown.
Yep. So Brad says, I can't wait for fans to turn on Cody for failing, and then he's forced to turn heel.
I feel bad for WWE fans, but I know it's not going to matter to them more than likely.
They're the ones forcing themselves to watch it. So,
but I
do feel bad for, I do for the people who really invest in it.
You were committed to this, and they're going to keep drawing. But the fact of the matter is that it's not Hunter's baby anymore. So Vince can do whatever he wants with whatever long-term storytelling they were going to fulfill at SummerSlam or next year in Philadelphia or whatever their plans are. But they're not their plans anymore because the boss is back in town.
And another reason I don't want to watch is
and that's the ultimate reason. And honestly, there's nothing there for me. I've done this experiment.
There's nothing there for me either, especially because I got to see. Yeah, I got to see Kevin Owens and Sammy win.
Yeah, that's night one of WrestleMania.
I got to see Rhea beat. I got to see Rhea beat Charlotte. Yep. So, yeah, we're gonna
remember WrestleMania 39 as night one and forget the rest, and that'll be my last WWE experience for maybe ever.
So. There's a lot of chatter going over here, so I'm going to go check this out. So Daza says, I'm using my month of the network to watch the actually very good matches they had in the past 9 months, but I couldn't watch WWE continually.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I think there was some more up here. Hold on one second.
It says, Daza says, I was amazed how on the edge of my seat I was for Cody versus Roman Reigns and invested, and then so pissed and down at the ending. I wanted done with the E. Yeah. But I'm not even a Cody fan. Yeah, I know. But the story, they told a really good story. I will give them credit. This is the best story that they've had in a long time, and they punched it right in the
screwed it. They're not going to be able to get that back.
Bags.
Because when he wins, it's not going to matter. And if he wins at a Saudi Arabia show, I'm certainly not watching it because that's not happening. So Daza says, oh God, I have a friend who always goes, but what's the stakes? Drives me nuts when the matches are so great. And Brad said that sometimes the matches that happen are the start of stories, which is what people are going to say about the Brock Lesnar thing. It's just that it's not that there's a story with Brock Lesnar. It's the fact that it was a Vince thing because Vince is mad at Cody. And
they've said, like Roman said, that we're only in the third inning was his his comment this week, and it's like that's a lot of innings, and is the new boss that's the old boss gonna even want to care about that story?
No, probably not. Kenny says, I noticed in the wrestling business, everyone just craps on everyone else's momentum. They did it to Cody, and it happened to Bray.
Momentum killing.
Because the spotted ring gear is on the way, probably. Yeah, because I thought somebody I follow was like, well, he hated his dad and he hated his brother, so this is on brand. Brad said, I really think there's big money in a heel Cody doing the gimmick he did while he was in ROH, coming in with a fur coats and his ring. It was great. Well, after after he spoke the the lyrics to California Love, I said that he was gonna bring back his make him say shirt. So if he turns into Hill Cody with the fur coats, he definitely is gonna bring back the make him say
He should
shirt.
definitely grow a mustache. Growing a mustache seems to be working
No,
out for
I hated
not
that thing.
no, but I mean I can't say it. Tony Khan's dad, before I butcher it and sound like a jerk, became one of the like richest one. Like he increased his worth like 200% over like last year, and his company is growing huge and everything. And he has like a pretty awesome mustache. And I'm like, must be you. I was talking to some of the people, and one of the people that posted it was like, it's got to be the mustache. It's really working out for people right now.
I guess.
His is way better than Creepy Sex Fest, but whatever.
Yeah, I was like, Nikki said he looks exactly like what he's been accused of.
Yeah, totally agree. Hard agree. That's exactly what
because
I was
everybody's
saying.
like, oh, he looks like this and this, and I'm like, no, he looks like what he's been accused of.
He just exactly. It's like he finally
stopped
just
making him
it.
into a.
He
stopped making him into a meme and laughing about it. This man is a predator. It's not. It's gross. It's not funny.
He grew a sex pest mustache. I've been calling it a sex pest mustache.
That's exactly what
chat,
it is.
So.
That's what it looks like. Speaking of Vince, Daza said he's probably tying Bailey down to railway tracks. Probably.
Seriously.
Watch Sakura Genesis. We are
going
to get to
that.
Brandon, that we are definitely getting to that. I promise we're going to get to that. Hopefully you'll still be here when we get to it.
We're getting to it. Yes.
Because they are talking about it in the comments, and we will definitely get to it. I promise. We got to get to one other thing before this. But so Nikki says the Brock stuff is hot garbage, and I'm back to not caring. Like I didn't care a whole lot because it's still WWE, but yeah, I was zero interest now. Yep.
Agree.
We're going back to watching.
Well, we just don't want to say we don't need to like what you like. We don't need to say
yeah. If you're still into it, good for you. I hope that you enjoy
badmouth WWE fans. It was great. No. I liked Brian Alvarez comparison to Dallas. He basically there's a great clip floating around the internet from when it was from Observer Live, I believe. And he basically said that, he explained the concept of Dallas to people who had never heard about it, but how the whole thing was a dream was basically the gimmick. And
exactly.
That's exactly sort of, he said from like this time to the night 1 of WrestleMania. And he was in agreement because night 2 was such trash. Like it was like up to that day. He's like, I'm just like, now I feel like it was all a dream. And he was there. And I can't even imagine the deflated feeling after having such a great night.
I know how deflated I felt. I can't imagine. Especially in somebody who was
Moving on.
So Brad says, I've seen somebody else. Maybe this was Brad that I've seen talking about this because I saw he said Brock and Roman are going to be the new 2-man power trip. They're going to beat Kevin Owens and Sami for the tag team titles. I will not catch me watching that.
That wouldn't even surprise me because that is like Vince is back, baby. He sold his company and
hate it. Yeah, I was listening to Matt Hardy. They were talking to him on his podcast about it, and he was just like, none of this is surprising as far as like the sale and all that stuff, because he was like, if he feels like he was pushed out, he's gonna try to reclaim everything that he thinks is rightfully his. And he was like, he is an alpha male. He was like, they used to call him back in the day, they used to call him the Emperor, because he was like, he has to control everything. And he was like, so I think he's like, I went back and listened to the State of the WWE podcast that they did an episode earlier in the year, and he was just like, he's gonna start by dipping his toe in, then his foot, then his leg, and to the point where he's fully submerged and he's back in the weeds. Like you said. And he was like, none of this is really that surprising because he was like, it's really interesting though that like obviously that he sold, because now it's not a McMahon family run business anymore, but he was like, he's getting his money and he gets to basically be in control and do what he wants. And he was like, I think he'll let Triple H like stay and creative and be like, this is what we're going to do, but then he's going to change whatever he doesn't like, and he'll do it on the fly if it's live. Like, he's like, if those reports on Monday are true, he was like, that's not a surprise. He was like, this is fully what I expect. And he was like, just working with him for decades. Like, he was like, this is not a surprise at all. Daza said, and he also said that he will be there until he dies. And then John Alba was like, well, he could be voted out. He was like, well, One of the two. And he's like, it's like real life Succession or Game of Thrones.
It's both.
Yes.
Yes.
Daza said if WWE made Avengers Endgame, Thanos would snap everyone back again and win.
Yeah, probably. He totally would. That's not even far off.
So we'll switch gears real quick because I know people want to get to the Sakura Genesis stuff, and we will.
Yes.
But first, we have to get to JayEW.
Yeah, baby.
Finally, we now know. And I really, because I think some people weren't really crazy about the way that it happened, but I thought it was really, I thought it was perfect, and I thought it was funny because they were just like, to just get to the point that he's not going to WWE, and they just like didn't announce him. They set up Ricky Starks, and his music, and it was funny because I actually missed, because I turned it on like right at 8, and I was trying to, because I was getting my laptop ready because I was covering stuff that night. Nikki was outside with Miley, and was like, all I saw was long brown hair, and I knew immediately who it was, and I was like, oh my god, it's Jay. So I like opened the back door, and I was like, Nikki, it's Jay. Like, trying to run, she's just trying to run in with Miley.
I love that image.
Yes, I was like, oh my god. Like, it's happening. So I had to like go back and rewatch like how he actually debuted, and but it was great, and I was just like, thank god I figured he wasn't going, but there's always that chance, especially because back when there was speculation, they were like pretty much like it was a done deal. But and I don't know the exact details of obviously when he came, but I've heard that he basically since January is when he I guess was going to go to AEW. So I wonder how much of that is Vince pushing his way back in had anything to do with him just be like, nope.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go back to WWE under Vince McMahon.
No. And, you know, we've made our arguments a few episodes ago about like why we don't think Jay should go to AEW and why he shouldn't go to WWE and why we would prefer to see him in AEW. And it seems like this is setting up stuff for Forbidden Door.
Which makes sense since he's been the guy that, I mean,
yeah,
he can't wrestle in Japan and he can't wrestle in New Japan. So,
but he can wrestle in Canada.
But he can wrestle in Canada, and he can sell out the Scotiabank Center without even being signed.
That's right.
I'm waiting. I may not get that moment, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Man, you're gonna hear that music. Oh God, it's gonna be. I'm so glad he kept the music because that's such a part of his like identity, I guess. I mean, it's the same way with Cody keeping his. Like it's perfect for him. And
that was what. So for me, I turned it on, didn't realize what was happening, heard the switchblade noise because it used to be. I had it as a ring notification tone for a long time. So it's I doubled down, not just watching New Japan during his, all of the Switchblade era, but having it actually on my phone as a result of that. And I heard that noise and I flipped toward, I was like, that's the Switchblade noise.
Exactly. That's why I was just like, oh God, yeah. And
I know that noise because I looked at my phone. Even it was like such a Pavlov moment.
Yeah, and then my texts start going and then the group text is like, oh my God, it's Jay. Like at the same time, we were all like flipping out at the same time. And that's been a lot of the conversation lately is how wrestling is about creating moments, and that was a huge one.
Man,
I think
was so
and
awesome.
It's an underrated one, like the way that I just really enjoy the way they handled it. And so Brad says the way I breathed a sigh of relief when he came out, I certainly breathed with the Switchblade. I know that's
same. Great. Totally.
Kenny says good to see him in America full time now. Finally, this is where he belongs on the big market. Yes, I would agree with that. Brad says I literally jumped from the couch yelling. My wife ran in from the bedroom to see what happened. That was great. Brandon says Jay White probably walked into WWE backstage, saw Vince with the mustache, and turned right around like that popular grapevine.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. Right on out of there. He's like,
he sure
nope.
did. So Kenny says, I love that they open with the show with that. Me too. The show was electric after that just because of that debut. Yeah, for a while, like
that
it took me
crowd, my God.
It took me a minute
it
took me a few minutes to get back into the show because I was like, Jay is here. What are they doing with Jay? That's all I was thinking about. Like, not that the show wasn't great, but I was just like, he's here.
What are they gonna do with him?
That's all. And then I thought about
like it feels like there's a sect of Bullet Club in AEW now. Yeah, is basically what it feels like.
Right. Kenny said WWE would have made him redo everything and it would be bullshit. Yes, that's how we've been calling him Jamie Blanco because we were convinced
that was our name that we made up for him in WWE.
I saw somebody call him that and I was like, I'm just going to go with that. Or we figured it would be that, or like Kiwi Jay was going to be his name.
Yeah, we had Kiwi,
and he was going to wear, instead of Pineapple Pete wearing the pineapple shirts, Jay was just going to wear shirts with kiwis on them or some crap
like that. And in the Discord, we were they were gonna call him Fryan Frillman or something like that, and he was gonna have a chef gimmick. And I said that his finisher should be "Thank you, chef." So we were having that was a Universal Fight Game Network family of friends and content people all making up his WWE personas, and none of them were very flattering.
No, but we all know.
But now we've been here before.
Yes, and so Kenny says AEW is the perfect fit for him. 100% agree. Jay White and Jeff Jarrett have two awesome wrestling villain themes. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I was told again because our friend Don from the chat who occasionally stops by. A friend of mine, he told me that he felt like Jeff Jarrett was going to carry a Forbidden Door, and I'm like, okay, I get it. It's fine. I love it. I love it.
They seem to be doing something with Mark Briscoe now from the ROH episode. So it seems like there's something interesting going on there. But back to the Jay White. So then I was thinking about our conversation a few weeks ago when we were talking about who attacked the Elite, and you and I were talking about Bullet Club, and I told you when we talked about Don Callis that maybe Jay White was somehow involved in this, and that it was that maybe they're working together somehow on something, because clearly Callis is up to something.
Well, and he's still trying to recruit Takeshita, even though he's not here
I can't figure out where Takeshita fits into all of this. But now Jay is here, and so I was thinking about that, and I was like, I need to post that clip again so that we can have it out there in case there's.
You also straight called the Jade thing. I this is totally. I'm going on quick tangent, folks. I should get a graphic. Sam called that Jade. Smart Mark Sterling was going to sue Taya Valkyrie for the use of the Jaded, which was her move, which was Taya's move first, which was somebody else's move. But as soon as they did that, I was like, Sam. So I just wanted to give her a shout out because it made me think of that. And then tangent done. Back to the.
But yeah, I really cannot wait to see. I think this is perfect timing with Jay coming in, not only Forbidden Door, but also whatever they do in Wembley, whatever Bullet Club seems to be doing, because we are going to get to the Sakura Genesis. And obviously, if you have not, we'll get the graphic ready, because if you haven't seen Sakura Genesis,
hang on, wait.
We're going to spoil it.
Mel's slacking. She clicked the wrong button too. Oh my God.
Well, follow us on Twitter. And then, spoiler alert, we're about to spoil everything from Sakura Genesis.
This is our spoiler alert.
If you have not watched, if you're listening to the audio feed later this evening or tomorrow morning, and you have not watched that yet, then you need to turn this off and come back and join us when you've watched, because we're going to spoil everything, and it's going to go into, because Brad has made a comment about something which seems very likely, and yes, so we're about to spoil everything.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about paying off your stories and sending your fans home happy.
Yeah. They did that they did that.
They did.
Even Chris Charlton said it in the main event about making because they did the Rainmaker, and they obviously zoomed out to do the Rainmaker pose, and he was like, and Chris said, you have to send the fans home happy.
Now, every time that happens, I think of Rocky Romero. Give me my wide shot. because that's his, like, when he started doing that on commentary right before Okada does the Rainmaker pose.
Yes.
He's like, ready for my wide shot, baby. So every time it happens now, I'm like, give me my wide shot.
Well, and then and obviously they have to have the wide shot for Best Friends and Orange Cassidy for them to give the people what they want.
Well, and I thought it was funny because somebody else tried to, like, I think Tony Schiavone, like, kept doing something during the thing, and Excalibur had to, like, jump in and be like, and you've got to give the people what they want. And I'm like, Tony, come on.
That's like talking during Kaze Ninare.
Say his lines.
Yeah, that's like talking during Kaze Ninare. You can't.
Yeah, but
I mean, they already had to do that with JR. They had to cut his microphone so he'd be quiet. Talking about how he had
you clap until you say your words, and then you clap some more.
Right, exactly.
Or else Murder Grandpa will kill you.
Right.
And if you're at a big event and you hear and you say it, my friend and I agreed that it sounds like, ah, but it doesn't matter.
It's all right. It's the feeling.
It's the best. I remember he had said that to me at one point. We were actually at a show sitting together, and when we both said Kaze Ninare, we actually looked right at each other because we were hearing the audio.
Yeah, that was like the one thing I wanted, because I got to that show, because I've talked about it before about how we got to that show late because we were doing the memorial thing for my aunt, and so like we got there like at the match before, and so I was like, I just want to I was like, clearly I want to see him wrestle, and he was wrestling Anthony Henry, and I was like, I have to Kaze Ninare. Like, this might be my one chance to do it in person. Like, I have to experience it.
I've been so fortunate. I mean, they gave him an entrance at the ROH Supercard back in 2019, so it was even fun that because he didn't really wrestle on that card proper, but in the ROH portion of the show, they did a lot of stuff because they had a big Rambo with Liger. So because that was Liger's retirement year.
Right.
I think Brad agrees with me. I think we've talked about this. We all think that Liger retiring is what set off the end of the world. So
facts. Facts. But yeah, so real quick, I know we're going to talk about Sakura Genesis. I was going to say it when we were talking about people holding titles, and I forgot. We were talking about Orange Cassidy with the international title, and if he holds it till all the way to Forbidden Door, and then drops it there, and then whoever has it at Forbidden Door drops it in London because it's the international title now. Not that it's not the same thing with the All Atlantic, but we were talking about, like, I was like, it should
be defended there.
I don't know that he'll hold it all the way until Forbidden Door because he's had it for a while and he defends it all the time. So he may drop it at Double or Nothing, and maybe whoever gets it at Double or Nothing holds it to Forbidden Door, and then maybe whoever gets it at Forbidden Door holds it through London and then drops it to, like, again, I don't know if they'll drop it to Pac again. Maybe Anthony Go gets it, I don't know, or like Kip Sabian or something. Maybe they do something like that. But that'll be an interesting thing to watch, that belt and what happens with it, because they could do a lot with it, I think, with the international shows that they're doing. Because I was convinced that he was dropping it in Canada when they changed the name.
Yeah.
I was convinced that they were going to put it on Jeff Jarrett. I was glad to be wrong.
I wonder if they'll give it to him coming. Well, he's already wrestled for it, so maybe not. Double or Nothing and Dontaku is the 4th of May. The 3rd of May. I looked it up today. It's one of those 2 days. So there will be Dontaku, Double or Nothing, Dominion before Forbidden Door.
And also G1 ends 2 weeks before Wembley. I noticed that last night when they announced the G1 date.
But the G1 is in between all of that stuff.
Yes, and G1 ends not exactly.
It's August.
I think it's 15, I think it's 15 days before.
August 5th, I think, is the last day.
It was, when I looked at it last night, it was 15 days before London. So these could all play in together, which is really fun. I mean, as a wrestling fan, and it seems more with like the Bullet Club stuff that they're doing. And then, Bullet Club has titles and Impact because
Well, Bullet Club is back to being fine and not fine again.
Yeah,
because there's no
not,
clear
the Japan
leader,
arm
so.
of this is not fine.
No, they are not fine.
It is very not fine. And then in Impact, you have Chris Bay and Ace Austin have tag team
they could
titles.
totally bring the Impact guys in. I always
Kenta is back and forth between Japan and their so that's
Impact's good again. I should start watching Impact again.
Impact has been, they're a little bit of a mess right now trying to figure out what they're going to do with Josh Alexander.
Yeah, because of the injury messed a lot of stuff up.
That picture is a mess. They've got the knockout side of it figured out, like how they're going to handle that. But yeah, so there's a lot going on. But so now that we'll really talk about
Sakura let's talk about Genesis like we've been promising.
Did you write down the match card? Because I didn't.
I didn't, but I can probably.
I figured we'd gotta like hop around. We actually did watch the entire show. Like I watched.
I did too.
Which show? Because I think I saw Brad talking about it, and then they mentioned it last night during the show. Which Road to show had Hinari versus?
It was the April blah blah blah. April 2. I've watched it twice now, and I'm gonna have to watch the English commentary. But it was the April 2nd Road to Sakura Genesis. It's the main event. You can roll.
I was hoping they put up the individual match. I meant to go back and look last night.
It was only in Japanese commentary when it first aired.
I saw last night
but there was an English I haven't watched the English, so I didn't know the rules, and I was like, "What the hell is happening?" But I started to pick up on it, and also I do in my heart, I do love the Japanese announcing. They're so like their vibe is so rad.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And I didn't care. I picked up what the rules were basically from what was going on, and then went back and read it, and then realized that there was an English version, but didn't care because it was so good, and I watched it again.
Yeah, because I heard that because I saw Brad talking about how much Shingo has elevated the KOPW title, and then I saw that it got 5 stars, and I was like, a Hinari match got 5 stars.
It was ridiculously good. And then I heard like it was way better. You on paper, you would not have been like, "Oh, that's going to be a great match." It was not just a great match; like it was a different kind of a match. So it was really fun and cool. All the weird rules he's been doing with the KOPW thing, where he's like, "You have to do this or you have to do that," and like they've had all these different steps. It's actually making the matches really fun. Because you couldn't like, there was only like you had to pin, submit, or knock your opponent out were the only ways that you could get points. And you had to get to 3 first.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I heard that. Well, then I guess
it was like a 40-minute match. It's not
I heard
short.
The match lasted 38 minutes. I heard them say that on commentary last night. And I was like, 38 minutes from Hinari?
Yeah, it was but it was.
That's not, and I'm not knocking Hinari, but Hinari is not a guy that you think of that has these type of matches. And that's
all right. I've got the card available.
So Brad says, I really think if it was still around, Shingo would be holding the IC title right
now.
I mean, give Shingo all the title. I mean, I'm happy. We'll get to that too, but I love Shingo.
And I would,
if Shingo wanted to be, if they wanted to do belt collector Shingo, since I'm apparently not getting belt collector Motor City Machine Guns, then also side note, since it is
title, there's the story where Kenny Jay White's the only the person that beat Kenny for the US title for the IWGP.
Wait, did Juice beat Kenny though? Right?
Was it Juice?
Juice had the title.
Juice and Jay have beaten him, I think. So maybe them being. I didn't even think about that until
he beat, because I think he beat Kenny, not Haramu, right?
He beat Kenny in San Francisco, but then he got hurt.
Right? No, Haramu did. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So no. Yes.
Okay.
Hiromu beat Juice.
Okay, but then
Juice did win it in America, and that was the first time.
And that's when he wear that awesome, amazing gear.
Yeah, that was back when he was really fun, like Mad Hatter Juice.
God, I love that guy.
Love
Juice Robinson so much.
This will give him. I think him and Jay. I know that everyone was like. I mean, I actually had a good conversation with Jeff Hawkins from the Dynamite show about this, and how he was like, some people are perceiving him as just kind of like Juice Robinson's buddy, but both of us we're kind of like, but we figure that they'll go somewhere with that.
I think so too, because Juice is somebody that I think he's more integral than people think. And I was really looking forward to Juice versus Ricky Starks, just because Juice is, I mean, I know
right?
he was having an issue on the microphone the other day because he couldn't remember what city they were in. But overall, Juice is very good on the mic. He's very underrated, and he's one of my favorites. He cuts great promos. And so I really wanted that stuff with him and Ricky Starks. And I'm not mad that Jay is in the picture now. And I think Jay and Ricky will be, if that's Jay's first feud is Ricky Starks, like that's gonna be
that'll work.
And thank God
it'll be good for Ricky Starks too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It'll be really good for him. He's great on the mic. That'll be really great in-ring stuff for him, and it will help like him show up more because those are people that can wrestle.
Agreed.
I think he has a ton of potential, and I think that like they could maybe like you get the right mindsets. I mean, it doesn't like you never know what's gonna like ring somebody's bell and start them on like a new path. All right, let's talk about Genesis. Oh, let's get this comment in here.
So, an interesting little note. Juice and Jay didn't do the regular 2-sweet. Instead they held up the Prince Devitt finger gun to each other. Yes, and I was talking to Nikki about that last night because Japan Bullet Club still did the 2-sweet last night, but Juice and Jay did not. So that is a very interesting little thing that they're doing. But yeah, so you said you did have the card.
So here's the card. I've got the card right here.
I guess we don't have to go match by match, but
no, we don't. We had a multi-man, 6-man tag team.
That was fun.
Suzuki and Yano and Great Okan and Tana, and actually it was really by a pinfall. It was a lot of fun. It was a great I was like,
oh my god, Yano pinned Tanahashi.
It was I always love like just seeing Yano. Sometimes he never ceases to make me laugh, and I feel good about it.
He's the greatest, and I still want Yano versus Brandon Cutler in a cold spray versus sanitizer spray match at Forbidden Door. I need it to happen. Please.
All right, here we go. I am back on this. All right, so we've got United Empire. So we had, let's see, 6-man. There were a bunch of 6-mans. Let's skip over.
Yeah, Brad said, can they coexist? Hell no.
Was there anything? What was the storyline in the undercard? We'll skip to the main matches so that we don't keep people here all day. But were there storyline stuff in the? I'm trying to remember. So there was the 6-man with the United Empire versus House of Torture.
No, there wasn't really anything there.
There was just 5 guys defeated LIJ. The only thing that's going on there is that Naito wanted the belt. Sonata broke away from LIJ. He quit LIJ to do his thing that he's doing.
Right.
And so there is heat between LIJ and just 5 guys because Sonata joined them.
Yes. Brad says they set up Naito versus Doki. And also Brad and Kevin Kelly wants Doki Choki shirts, and
he sure does.
And
he was
they were like, no.
He was like bothering Hanare about it and stuff.
And then they also did the Gino Gambino impression.
God bless Chris Charlton, and keeping Gino alive in comedy is the way to go.
I love it so much.
We love you, Gino.
Pieces taught me.
You're the best. We love you, man.
We do.
God, Kevin Kelly for bringing people on the table, man. He is so good at finding people and being like, come talk to me on the table and be part of the action. I love it.
Yes.
All right. So Bullet Club, there's another 6-man. So Bullet Club defeated Gorillas of Destiny.
This is where some big stuff happened. This is some big stuff happened.
Right,
so we have ELP for the children because
that's right.
ELP is for the children. He took off the little kid's hat and gave him his hat, and kid puts it down on his backpack or whatever, and ELP picks it up and he takes it from him, puts it back down, and then David Finlay comes over and just tosses the hat into the crowd like a big jerk. And and so when his back is turned, he gives the kid his shirt and says, shh. But Kenta sees it. So Kenta saw what happened. And then, so they have their match. Finlay and ELP are not coexisting. They are not coexisting within their own faction. They're chopping each other in the chest to tag each other in. ELP
Now,
is
Gato
hilarious.
is with Finley, right?
Yes, and so
So
Gato was out
if
there. Gato
Gato's
had a
with-
hat on very similar to the hat you have on now.
Sweet, even better.
so
it plays on every level.
It does, because I was like, why is Gato dressed like a British man? What is happening? Guess
He
he's
heard the
preparing for.
announcement too.
Yeah, apparently he's going to be at
He's
All
going
in
to
London.
send Rocky and see who he can get from the show.
And so then after the match, like Finley is going after Tama Tonga, and ELP is trying to stop him, and Kenta is like, he's over, I forget who he was standing over, and he gets him like, hey, like, do you see this? Like, he's being an asshole for no reason. And Kenta's like, so Kenta like looks like he's gonna like his like, okay, like you need to reel it back in, Finley. And then so Kenta, I was like, well, we all know Kenta's an asshole, so why are you going to him about Finley being an asshole? Because Kenta's an asshole too. Then he was a really big asshole, because then they start like, so Kenta turns on ELP. Then Ishimori comes in and appears like he's gonna stop it, and then he is a Judas, as Kevin Kelly says, on Easter weekend. I would like to point out that he is a Judas, and he turns on ELP.
Kevin Kelly is so good.
And then, so ELP is now sympathetic. He said, Kevin Kelly was like, he's an asshole, and he's like all of these things. He was like, but he's our asshole. I was like, yes.
It's so funny. Somebody shared this in one of the chats. They were talking about the fact that there's a quote from the manager of the Eagles, or from one of the guys from there, who was talking about their manager, who said he may be Satan, but he's our Satan. And they had just said that. So when Kevin said that line, I about just lost my mind, because I was like,
great.
In my mind, I was going, he might be Satan, but he's our Satan. I'm like, so good. Yes, Brad.
So Brad says Superface ELP is going to be so good, which I think I'm going to enjoy it, but heel ELP is so good. But I do think
he might be a Mashable, though, where he's like the face heel.
Yes.
Where he's got that like
tweener. I think Brad said way up somewhere in the comments, he was talking about ELP and how he is teasing going to join Jay in AEW, which will be interesting.
I know where that could happen.
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing. That'll be their big debut. They always have like one debut. Revolution didn't have any, so then Double or Nothing, they're gonna get ELP.
They're gonna need to do stuff with Double or Nothing, because
I don't know, but is the ELP gonna come to Bullet Club and be a baby face? Because I mean, Juice is not really a baby face, but he's not really a heel.
And Jay is not probably going to be much of a baby face.
No, probably not.
Only in his own mind.
Yes, it was classic Bullet Club jumping their homie out.
Yeah,
it was. It definitely was. Poor ELP.
Yeah, it's gonna make for such a good G1 though.
Yeah,
like all the characters in Bullet Club right now, even though they're annoying, they annoy me during G1 a lot, because I'm like, stop it, I want to watch the match, and then I'm like, they're doing their job. Shut up.
Yes, I was kind of wondering.
It's a fun group.
I didn't expect the turn to happen there. I thought they were going to have Finley and ELP like have a fight, and the stake was going to be, you're the new leader of the Japan arm of the Bullet Club, when actually it's Kenta, even if Finley says it's him.
But they've got Best of Super Juniors coming up too.
Right. So that's probably
will be storyline in there for
Juice and Switchblade Hills and AEW. I definitely think Switchblade is Juice. Juice is, and I just have a hard time seeing Juice as a heel. Not that he's bad at it, it's just because he's such a good baby face. I love him as a baby face. But I love Juice in general, so I don't care. Brad said, I'm wondering if Tama Tonga and Hikuleo will have anything to do with the story. They were kicked out of BC, and then they were in the match and saw it happen to ELP. I kind of wondered that too, Brad. And then also, I'm glad
Hikuleo that big win. They need to make sure they build.
That's what I was just about to say. I'm glad. I was like, okay, Hikuleo is back. How are we following this up? Because this man is the one who kicked out Jay, and then you had him off TV and didn't do anything with him. So like now you gotta do something with him, or what the hell else? Why was it Hikuleo that did that? When Finley is the one that's taken over? Juice is because he jumped Ricky, but you're right, I agree, he's better as a babyface too. Like I'm sure he gives off a cool babyface vibe instead of a heel better. Yeah. See, that's how I feel about it too. And I think maybe as the story progresses, maybe he will be a better heel. But it's just, yeah, he is definitely.
Or maybe he'll decide he doesn't want to be a heel and turn babyface, and then it won't matter.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Maybe that's just a setup to turn him face, because he's like, oh, I don't know, but I don't. I mean,
they've got to do a little bit more with heel. I feel like we haven't had we haven't got to see a lot of heel Juice yet. Just because, but he did help develop it. He did help Kenta win at Battle in the Valley. He helped him win that match. So he is kind of doing that type of stuff. So I have a feeling he'll be more integral than he's been so far. So like, I think they'll build him up, but it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
All right. So next we had an awesome, cool ladies match. For the first time on the second time on a big show.
So it was Mercedes defending her title for the first time since she won it.
Right.
And it was a 3-way.
Which I didn't know it was a 3-way.
Originally was not. It was originally supposed to be, and I'm going to pronounce it. It's Azumi, right? I hope I'm saying
Azumi.
Azumi. That it was originally the two of them. And then a few weeks ago, they added in... Is it Hazuki? Is that Hakuzi? Is that her name?
Hazuki. You got it right.
I knew I was right the first time.
Hazuki and Azumi.
Yes. And so people were kind of scratching their heads about why she was added in, but it ended up being great. I've heard of Azumi before, but I have never seen her before. And I was really impressed with them. I thought they looked really good and they helped her a lot. Okay, so Hazuki is mostly a tag team girl, but she's good. Yeah, I really enjoyed her.
She busted her way into that match.
Yeah, I'm glad they put her there. Brad said, I love seeing Hazuki get a ton of shine in that match. She's fantastic. Daza says Monet worked so well in the 3-way, and really her first Joshi match was without someone she'd worked with before. I think she's on the way to being the best U.S. women's wrestler ever. I was really impressed. She's really, her training is paying off. Brandon says first time Mercedes ever worked that high speed pace, and she kept up with Azumi and Hazuki the whole time. Yeah,
completely agree. Those are like great points. She was. It felt like a Joshi, match, like a real Joshi match.
I will say that Stardom is not that's.
But I think they're trying to get there.
I have time to watch all the wrestling in the world.
Yeah, right.
I will watch more of that. But so I'm glad. This is why I really enjoy this stuff, because I'm getting to see women that either I've heard about and have only seen in like GIFs and clips, or I've heard their names and have never seen them. So I'm really enjoying this exposure to see like what else is out there. And just
they own Stardom now, so they have to start like introducing the talent, and I think this is the right way to do it. What I loved was that the crowd was actually over for this match. Like it wasn't wasn't as big as some of the other matches, but they were into the match. They were actually enjoying it. Like, yeah, that's freaking awesome, because that's not something a New Japan crowd would usually have on their card to begin with. Right. It seems like you guys were saying it, and I totally wasn't thinking about it, but it seems pretty obvious she should be on Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that also,
I hope they bring some of the other ones. So they're so awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun. And like I thought it was because it was the first match like after, so it wasn't like the penultimate match like it was last time, but it was the first of 5 title matches, which I thought was a really cool spot to put it. Like because they got all their undercard stories out of the way, and she followed the big Bullet Club turn. Like that was a really big story. And then the Mercedes was right after that, which I thought was a really cool place to put that match. And I really enjoyed it. Kenny says Mercedes versus anyone at Forbidden Door would be lit. Yes. Big agree. She should be on the card. I agree.
She looks freaking amazing. Yeah. I mean, they all do. I love that she's adopted. Like I love her Joshi.
Yeah.
Self. I love it. It's amazing. I think it was.
And then they set up then they set up, obviously, her next match is going to be against Mayu Iwatani, which will be phenomenal. And that's really going to show what Mercedes can do. Because Brad pointed it out last night to me that, like, so the first match, and Daza even said it too, that like her first match was her former coworker, somebody she's worked with for before. Last night was 2 up and coming Stardom girls, and then or women, and then the next one is against one of Stardom's very best, which shows they've laid this out very well for Mercedes, and I think this was really good. Brandon says, I agree the card placement was very good for them. Kenny says she fit in with the Japanese girls. Brad said, I love the way Stardom lays out their 3-way matches. It's not a throw one out and work. They are all in the ring at the same time working. They do a lot of 3-ways in Stardom. Yeah, they really, like, there was constantly, like, you almost didn't know where to look because there was so much happening. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
NJPW has a similar, like this.
I still haven't got to the WrestleCon show.
I can't believe how fast these, I mean, it's like the pacing is so much closer to what you're used to in Japan. Like, it's the Japanese wrestling pacing. It's that style, but it's theirs. It's not the same as the men's wrestling. It's their wrestling. Like, it's awesome.
I've got to get to that Stardom show from WrestleCon, and I still got to get to the other 4 shows from the collective. But yes, the all women's
I think you especially
really want to
like.
I want to check out what they're doing over there. Daza said, want to see some intense stuff. Watch the Stardom press conference from last week with Tam versus Julia versus Saya versus Mina. And Brandon says Mercedes costume was inspired by a custom dress Cardi B wore to the Grammys by Cavalli. I saw that she posted that in her Insta story. And it was a side-by-side picture of what they had on.
I watched it twice because Bob didn't see it, but he wanted to see the match and he hadn't seen Mercedes since she's changed. She's come to Joshi. He was like, can you turn, because we watched the main event together, and he was like, can you roll it back to that match? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So it was like, and I just like, so I spent like a bunch of the time, like, again, like watching, like looking at like how intricate it was and stuff. I mean, again, as someone who's like a Rennie and loves costuming stuff anyway, and, you know, live theater, like, I love their presentation. I know it's just what they're wearing to the ring, but then even in the ring, they have their stuff that goes underneath. It's a lot of fun. And it does add to the match.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
I really like the way they're presented. It's really so great.
Fun and cool. It's like such a, I don't know, it's larger than life. It gives this like a larger than life feel to it, and I love the wrestling. Oh my gosh!
He said those Japanese girls are better than the Japanese men at wrestling. It's true. And he says the matches are actually way better. Joshi Puro is world class, particularly Stardom for me. Brad says the women start much younger than the men. Ozzy is 20 and she's already a 10-year veteran.
Well, yeah, right. I heard them say that and I was like, that would mean she started at 10. And then I was like, my niece is 10.
Yeah, my cousin's daughter is, I have 2 cousins who have daughters who are 10. So yeah, I'm like, insane.
But I look, you know, I got a picture of her from the science fair this week. And I was like, I mean, I guess, because I was playing soccer at 10.
Right.
I mean, I was on a club team by then. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
So it's not unthought of. And I know that a lot of people just straight quit in Japan and jump on the wrestling train. Unbelievable, though.
Yeah. It was a really great match.
I loved the, somebody posted the clip of Mercedes saying her name wrong on purpose over and over again, which I loved, calling her AZM over and over. And she like flipped out in a presser and was just like, Azumi. And she's like, she's bitching her out and she's like, AZM. I'm like, you are the most brilliant thing ever. Like, I'm so excited. She is like living her best wrestling life right now. And if I was people like Bailey and saw that versus what's going on, I'd be like, peace out.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering, because there was a Fightful Select story that said someone near the top of the card said that if things continue the way they did Monday, they were asking for their release, and I wondered if that's who that was.
Bounce. I would bounce,
I
especially
mean,
when
it could
you
have
see
been. It
something
could have
like
been
this.
just about anybody, but I wondered if it was. I wondered if it was Bailey.
This, I mean, after
Especially
this,
because she's
especially
seen.
on this is a major New Japan show. This is one of the main.
Mhm.
This is building the story to Wrestle Kingdom. This is like the beginning
Right.
of like the build for that. It's
Right.
huge.
So the match with Mayu, is that a Stardom show that's happening on?
I think that's happening at Capital Collision
Next week? No, I thought it was the 23rd. I could be very wrong.
You're right. It's whatever's on the 23rd.
Yes. So that's on I think it's the 23rd because Capital Collision is next weekend.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Brad says it's really hard to think that Mercedes will ever go back to WWE at this point. She looks so happy in Japan. Well, and even Matt Hardy said that he went to talk to her last week because they were both at WrestleCon together, and he was like, I talked to her for a few minutes and she looks really happy.
She looks amazing. She looks like it was great. Her charisma it feels like she's like remembering wrestling again. It was kind of like, it was like the thing that I feel like happened to Moxley when he went to the G1.
Yep.
To me, it's a very similar kind of.
That's a really good comparison.
He's a different person, but it's a very similar where they start. If you are watching her after yesterday, it's like, it's like, wow, she's starting to make that turn that he made where it's like, I'm John Moxley now. I'm Mercedes Moné now. I'm not who's Sasha Banks.
Right.
That person's
and I noticed Chris Charlton when she had them in the double statement, like he called it the statement, not the statement.
Yep.
Yeah, I noticed that he called it that. Brandon says between AEW and New Japan / Stardom, Impact, and TJPW, there's so many more options for women now than WWE. Thank goodness. And Brad confirms that it is the 23rd, and Brandon says that the match with Mayu is a Stardom show, which is what I thought. Okay.
Oh, and that's awesome.
Daza confirms, Brad confirms, Kenny confirms.
Wonderful.
So thank you all for confirming.
Brad is our Stardom ambassador. So
Daza, yep. We've got, and so we have all. So thank you
thank you guys.
Okay, Daza says on All Star Queendom. Thank you.
Awesome.
Seems like that's a really big deal for Mercedes to have a match there.
I can't wait to hear what the 5-Star Joshi Pro show has to say about that right here on Fight Game Media Network and Fight Game Media Plus.
Yes. Yeah, that'll
throw that up there. Little quick man.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool. So please at least watch the Stardom show.
It was a fan, and that was great.
Listen, Daza, I'm gonna try. So I assume that. So this will be. So when this is on, their streaming platform, do you have to buy their pay-per-view separately, like with New Japan? I will wait. And just it takes us a minute. Sometimes the comments lag a little bit, so it may take us an answer to get an answer to that question. Brad says, I'm so excited. Chris Charlton is doing English commentary. Yes, I heard him say that. I heard.
Is that true? That's fantastic.
Kevin was like, I'm not supposed to talk about it. And then he said it anyway. And Chris was like, well, yeah.
That's
okay. So Brad confirmed it is sold on a separate website. Thank you, Brad.
Okay. Interesting.
Thank you.
Good to know.
Yeah. So
maybe
for very good reason, she's not on the Capital Collision show or the DC show or the Philly show, or not DC. That is happening in DC, the Capital Collision or the Philly show, because she's going to be quite busy with the Stardom. So Daza says to watch the pay-per-view live. Yes. However, they appear on their streaming within a week. So would it be on New Japan World since she's got their title, I guess?
I wish. Wouldn't that be great?
I wonder if it will. Brad says Stardom Twitter will put up a link a few days before. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you guys for helping fill that in for us.
That's awesome. And
I appreciate that.
We're informing the people live in action.
They're informing us live in action, so I appreciate that.
Well, and we're letting everyone else know we're reading the comments. It's good.
Yes. If you're listening on the audio version.
We appreciate the fact that you guys are here to help us and are enjoying this.
And especially on a holiday, so thank you.
We are going to talk about Mel's favorite match. Well, I mean, I love the outcome, but this was probably my favorite just because I'm totally into this thing right now is ZSJ versus Shota. Everybody has a crush on Shota. Everyone,
as
even Kevin Kelly.
As they should.
He was mad at Hanare for jumping in front of him. And
yes, I heard him. He's
not being able to get the bracelets that Shota was giving out to kids. It's hilarious. I love everyone has a crush on Shota. I have a crush on Shota.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. I made sure that was appropriate.
The thing that they showed for real. At the beginning where Zack Sabre Jr. is holding up the jacket and he's like, look, Shota, it's a shiny jacket.
Well, first of all, he said,
like a dog.
I'm not going to take the piss like I usually do.
Shota is so dreamy.
He said one thing and then he went, here's Shota. And was like, yeah, I'm not going to pick. Yeah, okay. I love you so much, Zack. You are the man.
Zack is the best. And I'm still glad that, Mel and I have said this many times. We stand by the fact that Zack is the perfect first champion for this title and that he is the one establishing it. There could be nobody else to establish this title at this point. However, I will say I'm surprised by the outcome. I thought that Shota was going to win here.
They made you think he was going to win here.
Well, and it made
awesome.
Sense. Yeah. So Brandon says the TV title has been a breath of fresh air. The 15-minute limit brings a sense of desperation from the outset. I was a big fan of the TV title in WCW. Yes, I really
love it. And Zack, because Zack has a pace anyway, you have to keep up with him.
Yes.
And Shota, he took him to it was less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Till time limit.
Yeah.
You can't lose on a timeout, but it was amazing. I loved how much they made. They're trying to make Shota a star right now. They're building him up.
Zach put Shota over after the match. He went and talked to Kevin Kelly, and he was like, "Shota's great, isn't he?"
10 Bev Kev is going into the history books. Everybody, 10 Bev Kev for life.
Again, he said, "I think my girl might elbow me if I compliment Shota, so I will reserve judgment." Hey, we get it. We get it.
I think even Bob has a crush on Shota.
Hey, listen, I can understand why. Look at him. Look at it. He's got Ace of the Universe hair.
He really sometimes I think he's like a young Tanahashi when he comes out.
At least,
just because the hair
at least he doesn't currently battle with apples.
Right.
Like poor Tana does.
Tana's teeth versus apples. Poor guy.
That's going to go as feud of the year on The Observer is Tana versus Apples. You and I are also going to go in it when we fight Mike Gilbert for big teats because he's ours.
Yeah, you don't get him. He's our TMDK. He goes to our side. He's in both.
Big Teats is ours. You cannot have him, and we'll fight Mike Gilbert.
I hope Big Teats ends up coming to. Maybe Big Teats will come to Forbidden Door.
I hope so.
Maybe he'll show up with the TMDK guys. I love ZSJ TMDK. I think this is the greatest faction ever. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love that he Kosei Fujita is great. It's good. This is just going to elevate the.
Last night I saw yesterday. So Shane Hayes tweeted champions, and it was a picture of Zack and Robbie Eagles. And
right. That's right. Because Robbie Eagles joined them too.
Yeah, and Kyle Fletcher said, "Bro, he said you lost it, or he lost it, and you watched the show." And Shane said, "He's a champion of our hearts." It's like, God, I love TMDK. This is amazing. Brad says apples 2, Tana 0.
Yeah.
Nikki says, "Bro, that's why you should cut your apples." That's why I use an apple corer, bro. That's exactly what they're for.
You break it.
Brandon says Shota was awesome. ZSJ was great, and a wild finishing stretch. Would recommend to any wrestling fan. Me too.
It was so good. That was such a good match. Oh my gosh. And yeah.
So where do you think Zack goes from here? Who is next for him? Have they hinted at any?
Question. Did we have
TMDK is a cool name? Yes.
It would be kind of cool to have the Bryan Danielson. I know that a lot of people want them to have the full match, but I still think it would be kind of fun and cool for them to have the 15-minute match.
I want like we talked about a couple weeks ago. I want both. I want Zack and Danielson to have the crazy insane match that we all
because a 15-minute time limit.
I also want to see if Bryan can beat him in 15 minutes.
Well, and there's so much discussion about like who might do the G1, and that's always a discussion, and we all
I'll tell you, they
dream.
showed that thing again last night. It is still not Danielson. I don't care what y'all say.
No, I don't think he's gonna.
It's probably a young lion. Temper your expectations. That's
I
not
mean,
to say that Danielson's not in the G1. I just don't think that is. I don't think that that's who
tour,
that's for.
man.
It is
The
and
real
stretch
full
that is
G1
between,
and the travel and the real. They're doing a. This
right.
is. We get a real G1 with real crowds this year.
Yeah,
Finally.
and like you said, based on where it falls in the schedule, and Danielson is clearly the Bullet Club, the Blackpool storyline is. I don't know that this is the time.
I don't think they can take
want
him out
in
for
the
that
G1
long.
so bad. I just don't think that that's where this is happening. Kenny says, I think ZSJ stretches Brian. He seems better, but I would love to see it. Yeah, that would be so cool.
It would be
I would love to see that, see what the two of them could do in a 15-minute time limit, knowing that that's their parameters that they have to work within.
Yeah.
Like, I think that could end up being like a match of the year type of thing. And then you can get Zach, and then you get ZSJ Danielson too. And that's the one that's the long one. That's the one that goes 30 minutes or maybe goes Broadway or whatever. I think so.
That'd be amazing if they had a 60-minute draw.
I actually would not be mad at it if that's what happened. I would not. Zach,
I mean, the last one we had was amazing. So
yeah.
I mean, and unexpected, even though you started to realize that, oh my God, they're really doing this. I love that. New Japan kicking on full cylinder, full gear, 100%. We'll get to the next match here because I'm really excited about this result.
Yeah, so Kenny said, would be a good, serious feud, legit feud. Yeah, I would like that too, Kenny.
That would you can do a series with that one too. ZSJ and Danielson is the same as Kenny and Ospreay. You can go for miles with that.
Yes, agreed.
Or kilometers, depending on which where you are.
Right, exactly.
We can't measure everything in freedom measurements, God. Let's remember we have an international audience here.
We do.
So, Aussie Open versus Bushimon.
Love
Goto and Yoshihashi.
So let me tell you, I meant to say this before.
I really love Bushimon.
Bishimon's great because I freaking love Goto anyway. We've talked about it. Brad says Forbidden Door for the TV title, all in with a longer match. Yes.
Ooh, okay.
I could see that.
All right. I would actually be fine with that.
Yes. So yesterday I opened Instagram not thinking about Sakura Genesis. So I opened it.
Oops.
Got spoiled on one match. Go to Twitter to tweet about that. And then 2 seconds later, get spoiled on this match from Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, Jesus.
Then later, I got spoiled on the Mercedes match because multiple people were talking about how good it was, which, I'm not mad. And I assumed she was going to win. So, it wasn't like I wasn't surprised. I figured. And we'll get to the main event part in a minute.
I mean, I largely knew the outcomes, but at least where they seemed like they were going.
Yes. But this match, so even though I got spoiled on it, this match was incredible. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. I loved it. Yes, Brad. He says the post-match with Kyle Fletcher and Kevin was such a great, wholesome moment. It was precious.
It's wonderful.
I loved it.
And I had it. Sweet. This is where my friend reminded me that FTR and Aussie Open had his match of the year last year at Royal Quest,
right?
And so
because Dax
for that is around.
So even if Kyle had not spoiled it, then Dax, who I did not follow, but he came up in my timeline. Oh no, he came in my timeline because Kyle quote tweeted him. That's what it was.
Okay,
but it was a picture. It was a picture of FTR with the titles, and then a picture of them with the titles. And I forget what I think he was just basically was implying when is this rematch going to happen?
I was told buckle the F up if that happens at Forbidden Door. And I put the F in there just to save the monetization.
Yeah, we're not trying to get demonetized up in here.
So I love this. I mean, I love Bishamon. I think it's a great tag team. It's grown on me so much for no good reason, but it works.
Yes.
It just
and we talked about it. Nikki and I talked about it again last night. Like 3 or 4 years ago, like we never would have seen Yoshihashi in the position he's in now. Like, where did this Yoshihashi come from?
totally.
Like, I'm glad he found it because he's been great. And we talked about it last week or the week before how Goto always just like quietly has bangers that like he always does. So like, I think the two of them
shows up.
Yeah, and the two of them together are really great.
Yeah.
And then, but Aussie Open, God, they're just so good.
I'm so
And
excited
I was like,
about
we were,
this.
and I talked like it was just a few weeks ago when Dunk was like, I haven't seen Kyle since World Tag League. We're not booked anywhere. We're not contracted anywhere. And I was like, how the hell are they not contracted anywhere? And then Tony was like, you're not. Come to AEW. Come to Ring of Honor. And then they're like booking him like, and they've been an Impact, and they're killing it in New Japan. And now they have these like, just so that's crazy that they went from being non-contracted to now they're New Japan Tag Team Champions. And I would assume there's some type of contract involved in that. I don't know the details, of course, but I have not heard one way or another, but I would assume with them being champions. But like, that's really cool to see like that people were gonna basically step up and be like, okay, well, we got to do something here because this is one of the best.
They
tag
paid
teams.
them off for the work they did in the New Japan Cup as singles. I know that they wrestle as a tag team, but they wrestled singles during the New Japan Cup, and both of them put on some of, one of my favorite matches of the tournament.
Great. Yeah. Well, and then they had
Will Ospreay, when he went out, chose Mark
Davis.
Mark Davis and Mark Fletcher. Mark Davis to, be the guy to fill in for him. And I really fell in love with them during that tournament. Yeah. And then this was like,
and then and they had one of my favorite matches at Multiverse, because the Multiverse tag team match that I was looking, that was, it was Bay and Austin versus TMDK, which was Big Teats and Shane Hayes versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Aussie Open. And now next weekend we are getting Aussie Open versus Motor City versus Tana and Okada for the tag team for the strong tag team titles. Because remember, we talked about it on the Supercard of Honor live stream. That match got announced while we were live.
I love that Tana and Okada are like this weird tag that happens. They're just when I tag, I will tag with the other champion.
Kenny, Motor City Machine Guns is like my favorite. Is one of my favorite.
Like
the Hardy Boys are like, that's my number one tag team. They've been my number one tag team for a while.
Sam needs to come visit me in Detroit because
Motor City is. Yes. And speaking of Motor City, I started to say it earlier. I saw Impact tweet that today is Chris Saban's 20th anniversary in Impact Wrestling.
Aww.
And this dude is still, but he's,
he looks great.
Thank you for my great taste. But yeah, he still looks.
Sam is like 100% Motor City.
And Chris Saban.
She's gonna come visit me here in Detroit so that she gets to see Alex Shelley on random shows all the time.
Yes, I need to. But and Chris Saban's probably, and Alex Shelley for that matter, they're better than they've ever been. Like they've both. I think what's really helped Alex Shelley is he's done a lot of independent stuff, and so he's just doing all these stuff because Chris doesn't want to do a whole lot of indie stuff, but now he's doing some GCW stuff, and he filled it. And I still got to go watch his match with Mike Bailey that he had when he filled in for Josh Alexander when they got hurt. He said, "Dude, they're the best tag team. Seriously,
you guys are friends. You're a friend forever."
I'm so glad that Motor City is getting their flowers while they're still around and still putting on banger matches. I'm so happy for them, and I'm really glad that they signed.
Sam writes a lot. She does a lot of writing and stuff on this jazz. So check her out.
I was talking about Motor City all day, but Aussie Open, however,
you can. She loves it. It's fine.
Yes, but Aussie Open is just—they're incredible, and I'm so happy for them. And man, so I saw in the Nikki was talking about it too. That so I saw the picture of the back of after I had already seen that they won. I saw the picture that Kyle posted of the back of his head. So I didn't realize how early in the match that happened and like how bad it was because it was just the wrapped and it was covered in blood. And I was like, holy crap! And then like it was Great Khan was the one who like bandaged. I saw him tweet today and he said he's the greatest doctor because of course it
He's
was
the greatest
So,
Okan.
of
We've
course he's the
established
greatest
this.
Okan.
He's
So
a
he did. I was like,
superhero.
I bet he got him some pancakes
He's
after.
practically a superhero. Yeah, right.
He probably got him some pancakes. So Brad says backstage after the match, ZSJ confronted Aussie Open and put down a challenge from TMDK, Shane Hayes, and Mikey Nichols. Sweet. That'll be fun. Awesome. That'll be really fun. Nikki said, I opened Twitter and jumped to someone's post and Kyle's pick came up. And I tried to cover it with my hand while I read the tweet above it, but I figured they won based on what I saw.
Nice try. Too late.
Yes. Yeah.
I actually did really well. I ended up getting spoiled because I tuned into Jim's show and I knew I was going to get spoiled, but I wasn't thinking, but I knew as soon as I turned it on because I tuned in his Wrestling Observer live on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was most of the way through the show, but not all the way through the show. So yeah, I got spoiled on the main, but didn't get spoiled really because I kind of knew.
Yeah.
In my heart, I saw where it was going, and it would have been surprising.
Right. I wasn't super surprised, and I wasn't surprised by the main. It was just, it's funny because Sonata spoiled both the New Japan Cup and that match for me. Both times I opened at Twitter to Sonata's posts, and I was like, they're like, well, you watch his Insta stories all the time. Yes, but his dog is very cute, and he is very cute.
See?
Kenny says Motor City versus Generation Me in TNA in 07 changed the game. Yes. And I actually went back and watched one of those matches back when the pandemic first started and shows weren't happening. I wrote an article on the top 10 top 10 Motor City matches that were on YouTube, and that was on there. And I hate one of the things that's so weird that's not on there is their matches with beers why am I forgetting their names? Not Beer City. How did I just completely blank on their names? It's I can see that Bobby Roode and Beer Money. God, I don't know why that.
I'm like, I don't know this one. I don't know. I'm terrible at this stuff.
Yeah, Beer Money. Those matches, they did like a best of 7. Yes, Beer Money. I don't know where my brain was going, but
I love you guys. Thank you guys in the chat. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here for us.
The best of 7 they did was incredible, and like there's like highlights on YouTube, but not the full matches, which is insane to me because those were some of the best matches that Impact ever had. Weird. But anyway, back to the main event. Back to the main event that Sonata ruined for me. Not ruined.
Well, we're gonna jump Hiromu and Robbie Eagles.
Oh no, I forgot about that. We can talk about them. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's the second to last thing. It's hard to actually all the matches were so good. I kept thinking the main event was next.
Yes.
So
yeah,
which is great.
Hiromu versus Robbie Eagles was fun. I'm a huge Hiromu fan. I like Robbie Eagles. I like that
he's part of they just adopted him. TMDK,
which I think is a perfect fit.
I think that'll help elevate him because I think he's really talented, but I think he's been having struggling to find his place.
Yeah. I think this is a really good spot for him. And look at what TMDK is like even before Zach was in it. Like it was Jonah and obviously Nichols and Haste, and then they recruited Tito after Tito and Jonah were having matches on Strong, and then he obviously went back to WWE, and then they got Zack Sabre Jr. and then they adopted Fujita and Fujita, and then now they have Robbie Eagles. Like they've done so much within the last year. To really, there's such a great faction.
I think he mentioned, I think Chris Charlton or Kevin Kelly, but I think it was Chris Charlton mentioned on the thing that they have representation in every division now I love it. And I was like, that's really smart. It's perfect timing because Best of Super Juniors is coming up. Yep. So they needed representation in that tournament, and they got it. And now they have it.
Robbie he seems like a really good dude, and he's a lot of fun. And he's so much fun to watch.
I think this will be better. I think this will teach just because of what Zach is great, and he was he's been there and he knows, and he's getting over as a foreign heel in the way that Kenny did. I mean, which is those are very unique, and I love it. Mm-hmm. I just think I love it. All right, let's talk about
Yeah, I'm excited for
I'm
BOSJ, and I love both of those guys,
Yes.
and so I'm really excited. BOSJ is one of my favorite tournaments.
And they've
I'm
got English
very
commentary the whole way this time.
yes,
So from
I'm
what
very
they were
excited for this
saying,
tournament. I love
this
they
is, I mean,
BOSJ never lets me down.
that well, one of the but like a few years ago, before the Phantasmo and all the Rocky matches,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, those were some of the
Yeah.
best
Well, and
matches
then they
that
even
year.
that's when they were also doing C block and David Finley
Yes,
was the C block champion. Like that was a lot of fun. Like that stuff.
love it.
It's so funny to see like where Finley is now when he was like C block champion and like barely getting on these cards and now he's like taking Jay's spot.
Love it.
Brad says I'm excited to see who they bring in. Me too. Kenny says BOSJ best wrestling. Honestly, you're spot on with that. I've never been let down. Yes,
It's a great tournament. It's a lot of
yeah,
fun.
I'm really excited, and I still will never forget how they made Shingo
Yeah,
a
right.
junior. But I wasn't really familiar with this Shingo at the time.
Mhm.
Clearly, it was like Junior's pushing it, but whatever. But he killed it in that tournament, and I was like an instant fan. Then he went and killed it in the G1, and I've been a fan of his ever since. Like I love
JayEW
that
is
guy.
like so good at introducing me to someone that I'm like, who the F is this? And then having me like a few weeks or months later go, I freaking love this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I like this? He keeps doing that to me. I love that feeling. It's just amazing.
Same.
I love where they are.
Yeah.
And I love this outcome because it was time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Shingo was, he was not quite a junior, but sure.
230, yeah. And 230 and like 6 million feet tall.
I was like, he's a junior in what universe?
Yeah, right.
I enjoyed all of the matches, but
man, what a great tournament that was.
They sure bent the rules to make that happen, but I'm not mad at it because they were great matches. That's probably one of my favorite that might be my favorite BOSJ tournament.
That was so good. It was just like
one.
Good. It was good, and you watched it like you ended up. I mean, this is like where I'm at. I know that I'm going to be busy this summer again because G1. I'm up in the morning and I'm watching the match.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Can't wait. Love having the crowds back. Love having the reactions.
And we're gonna have live English commentary.
Aussie Open was getting the love in that match.
Oh my god, those fans were super into Aussie Open.
They were totally cheering for Aussie Open. I loved it. All right.
Before you move on real quick, I need somebody to gif Great O'Con standing on the apron after the match with his little green light doing the Aussie and doing his hands. I was like, somebody please, who can make gifs, please make that for me. I loved it. So I was dying. Like I was like, look at Great O'Con. He's living his best life.
He's just having so much fun.
I was like, look at him being a supportive king.
He's so good.
Okay, now we can get to the main event.
All right. And the main event was Sonata versus Okada, and Sonata finally got the monkey off his back, as they say in sports.
Ooh, and he made Okada mad. Okada was mad at himself. Oh, he did not like that one time, like when he got Sonata in the corner and was gonna like do his chest, and then he chopped him. And I was like, what the hell? You don't do that. Like,
you're supposed to be the good guy here.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I love this Okada right now. Angry,
like
channeling fighting spirit Inoki, angry Okada is totally. I'm down for that.
Well, and so a couple of weeks ago when we were previewing this show, or we talked, Sonata won the cup. That's what it was, and we were talking about it. And Mel was like, "I have I think it was like a bold prediction," and you were like, "I think Sonata's gonna win," and I was like, "Me too." Yeah. So I was like, "Look at us being right." I mean, I think it was probably pretty obvious with that. It was the right call.
It was the right. Yeah, make a champion, and then when he's as hot as he can be, he wins and beats the champion.
That like? I didn't know that was allowed. That you could make your hot champion.
Are you saying that you can pay your fan base off for their commitment to your product in
apparently so? And those
fashion?
Fans, again, talking about fans who were like really over for Aussie Open, there were a lot more Sonata chants than Okada chants last night. He
was the face in that match. Okada made him the face with the stuff he's been doing lately.
Yep.
They've been building the story on commentary that he's owing whatever.
The payoff, it was nice to get payoff right then and there.
I mean, and there were near falls that were like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's going to be Okada,
Right.
but it should be Sonata. And
yeah. Yes.
And
Brad
it
says,
should be Sonata. We've talked about this before. We talked about it when we did the bold prediction, was
Yeah.
that we love Okada, and Okada is obviously the company's go-to guy, but he can't be the champion all the time.
Right. And you need to build up other people, because look at what happened in Impact with Josh Alexander. There is nobody behind them because Steve Maclin is not ready.
Nope.
I love Kushida and I hope he's the champion, but Kushida's not been booked as a championship guy. You have Frankie Kazarian, not booked as a championship guy. Jonathan Gresham is there, not booked in these high story. Like, so they've got to build up these other people, which is exactly what New Japan is doing. And it's paying off. Brad says, clean shaven Sonata, no hair dye, new tights, just hits differently. Oh my God. When he took off, like the robe was really cool and like intricate, but then when he took it off and he had the new gear, I was like, oh, this man's serious.
I love it. I love this.
This is championship gear Sonata. Like Sonata treated that match like a big deal. Like, not that I think Okada underestimated him, but Sonata definitely took that match differently. And I was really happy with his presentation. Kenny says it's indeed the perfect time for Okada to go on a tag run with Tanahashi. Yeah, I heard some people, and for Sonata to win the belt. Yeah, I've heard some people think that Okada and Tana are gonna beat Motor City next week for the maybe for the strong titles.
Oh, for sure.
But maybe it's for but then and they could go, or they just do the tag run for a while and maybe they challenge Aussie Open at some point. But yeah, I have seen a couple people think they're going to win the strong titles next week.
Well, it's easy, a little easier on them. It takes a little easier on them.
Yeah, and then I was like, because I mean, I doubt they're gonna have. I mean, they could do Aussie Open 2 belts and have them have the strong and those titles. I really, of course, would like Motor City to keep them, but I can see them giving them to Okada and Tana, because I mean, it's Okada and Tana.
Well, I mean, but it's not that far, obviously, from Detroit to Toronto, so maybe there's a match at Forbidden Door.
That could be. And you know what's interesting?
Maybe they'll have a multi-man tag match with those guys,
right? And what'll be interesting though is if they do win the titles, or if they do this tag team run, like Okada is, because obviously like the epitome of babyface is Tanahashi, but now we say Okada is usually that guy, but he's not been lately. He's angry and he's not a heel, but he's not
a good guy now.
He's not straight, just like a straight,
he's a rogue.
Baby face.
He's rogue.
So it'll be interesting. Listen, if they
we did Brocada already. We're doing Brocada now.
So yes,
we're doing You Kicked Me Too Hard in the Face, Kiyomiya. I am now channeling Antonio Inoki.
Yeah. So I want to see how Tana handles that. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, this is not how
calm down. This is not what we do here.
Kenny says, we need a Motor City Machine Gun match at Forbidden Door, please.
It's a short drive for Alex Shelley. I'm driving.
Yes, I really,
only 3.5 hours.
I have been wanting Belt Collector Motor Cities, but apparently the wrestling goddesses do not want me to have that for whatever reason. I don't know what I did to piss them off, but they're not giving it to me.
Someday, maybe.
Brad says Tana said he's staying for a bit of time in America. If Okada is staying too, strap them up. If he's not, I could see it being a bit of a turn for Okada. Tana gets pinned and Okada snaps on him. Ooh, I like those. Are some really good scenarios. But yeah, if he's gonna say, and I believe Okada tweeted that he wanted to change, like the way it translated was that he wanted to change, or maybe he needed to change a scenery. So maybe he is going to stay in the US for a little bit, or through Forbidden Door or something like that. So that could be it. But then some people wondered if that meant he was leaving Chaos, because, you know, we've seen Sonata leave LIJ.
Well, didn't Chaos basically break up?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, there's some places that are just like kind of
broken up. I guess like, so they were saying that maybe
broken up, like reorganization.
Right. So that'll be, I'm really interested to see what this version of Okada does. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and that Sonata gets to build that up, because we talked about it before. We talked about it like when he won the New Japan Cup and he's clearly won the title, but like if you're going to they need to push Sonata like this big star, like we were talking about with Hikuleo, like he should have been pushed not obviously not to a Sonata position, but he should be pushed into a bigger position if he is the one who got Jay White, who was one of your biggest stars, out of the company, and then you do nothing with him, then it's pointless. And then what are you doing? Brad says Okada is going home like Ryan Danielson. Okada returns to his roots of where he came from when he first returned from Excursion as more heelish. Yeah, that seems like that's where this is going, and I am here for it.
Works for me.
I am very here for it. I'm here. And so, yeah, and then after Sonata wins, we get Hiramu, who comes out, not Naito, because Hiramu is the one, like, Naito is upset, but I feel like Hiramu is the most upset of LIJ. I feel like it really hurt him that he took it personally, where Naito is just like, I want your belt and you stole that from me. And so, like, that's where his is from. But I think for Hiramu, it felt like he really hurt him by turning on LIJ. And then he's like, I want that title. He's like, I want a shot at that title. And Sonata basically laughed in his face. And then we hear, was it Kanemaru? I think they were like, when's the last time he had a microphone?
Yeah, right.
And so I was joking that Sonata is going to send Hiramu on the like they did the 5 Labors of Jericho.
There you go.
Like, he's going to do the 5 Labors.
He's going to MJF
of just five guys. He's going to have to go through
all of them to get to Sonata.
Through all of them to get Sonata to get a title shot.
Oh, you know who I know to get to me? Just 4 guys.
Yes, right. and then oh yeah, because Kevin was complaining about the shirt. He's like,
oh man, that was funny.
He's like, what if I get the Just 5 Guys shirt and you add another member?
He's like, I'm wearing this one. It says Just 4 Guys. Don't I get a refund? Kevin Kelly. Perfect.
I love it. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, with BOSJ, like, they're not gonna. So does Sonata skip BOSJ? Do you think, or do we think?
I would imagine that he will be present and probably do some undercard stuff. But I don't think he'll be in the tournament because he's a heavyweight.
So then they save.
But they have someone in their group that can be in the juniors, right? Do they? Out of the 5 guys, maybe Kanemaru is going to be in the.
Yeah, because isn't he in it usually, or am I thinking of G1? Maybe I'm thinking of G1.
He only been back for a little while, didn't he? Go away and come back.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe BOSJ is a good place for him to wrestle.
Well, and then that's what I was going to say.
Just 5 guys, because I know, like, again with Robbie Eagles, you are apparently like you're seeing the factions sort of get their junior in place. I mean, obviously LIJ has the champion, so
right. And so if what I was going to say, so because of BOSJ then maybe that keeps Sonata and Hiramu from touching or getting involved, is because Sonata's not.
I think it should.
In it, yeah. So then he could go through the.
He's the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He is the man. He has the belt. So
yeah, for Sonata to not really be involved much in those shows, yeah, it does make sense for him to not be involved so much, and so then that keeps him away from Hiramu and saves their stuff for a little bit later, because Hiramu is going to be busy trying to keep his title, because even Kevin said last night, he was like, do we see a title change after BOSJ, or do we just go ahead and retire it as Hiramu's title?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so there's some really interesting, fun things happening in New Japan right now. And then
they elevated all new talent on this show, basically.
Yeah. And then so there's so much going on. There's the TMDK stuff, and there's ZSJ and the title, and there's Bullet Club doing thing in multiple companies, which something will probably happen at Forbidden Door, maybe even Wembley as well. Like, there's so much going on, and then they're doing their own things. Like, you've got Aussie Open, who are your tag team champions, and you've got now you have Sonata. He's definitely need a new junior champ. Hiramu is my favorite, so I would not be mad if he had the belt forever. However, they do need a new champion, and
he's got I mean, that guy's got a following and a ton of charisma. I mean, it may be time for him to level up.
Yeah,
I'm not saying to the belt, like, maybe at this moment, but it doesn't mean, like, I mean, Is he ready for G1? But maybe that's what Gator decides.
Maybe. Well, and it's been like his whole thing, like his biggest thing is like he wants the Super Juniors to main event Wrestle Kingdom, and that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. So maybe he goes and focuses on something else for a while, and then comes back to that division. Maybe they let somebody else kind of run it. Maybe they put it on. Maybe Despy gets the title for a while, or maybe it's one of the guys they bring in, like, because we don't know yet who they're bringing. Because it could be some of the strong guys, like they were talking about Kevin Knight last night, and they were like, "What has he?
That's right. Yeah.
Like what has he done to deserve this?" And Chris Charlton's like, "Well, he's been wrestling in Impact."
Which you can watch on New Japan World, folks. I mean,
so Kenny said, "Hey girls, I just wanted to say your review is awesome. It's nice to see wrestling media that don't scream it the whole time. You guys are well spoken and don't yell at each other like YouTube wrestling." Thank you. That's we really appreciate that.
That's really, we actually try to do that.
Yeah, and even when we disagree with things, like we don't like we
I like to say I like disagreeing with Sam because we come to like compromises and we learn new things about each other. Each other's points
on Twitter. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah, so even because we usually can see each other's point of view with stuff too, or like even last week with the stuff about the should the Rumble winner main event WrestleMania, like we could see both sides of the story with it, and so it's always nice to get different perspectives.
It was a good conversation.
Yeah, and it's nice to get different perspectives because we're not always going to agree with stuff, but we can agree and be civil about it. What a concept!
What? Holy crap! What is that?
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I think our show, a lot of the stuff on the network is specifically for, all of our network covers everything, and we had UFC specific, and we have WWE specific, and we have AEW specific, and we have all kinds of stuff, and we're kind of the what do we feel like watching this week, and what are we going to talk about, people? And obviously, we're huge New Japan fans. We tend to watch most of that stuff, and AEW as well, or kind of. But we're like what you like wrestling fans.
Yeah.
There's
and
plenty
again,
out,
if you like WWE and you love it, like we're not trying to we're all
it's just not for us. That's all.
Yeah, it's not for us, so we don't watch it. And if you like it, then I am happy for you.
And unfortunately, it influences what happens in all of the other wrestling quite a bit, especially in North America. So we unfortunately have to talk about them because.
Thanks, Kenny.
But we don't have to shit on them.
Yes, the variety is key.
You can like what you like.
You can like what you like, and then we can not talk about it.
It was so cute, actually. I was listening to Garrett's Observer Radio with Dave, and Dave was talking about that Fight Plus subscription and how he signed up for the collective weekend, and he was like marking out about how much that he was like talking. He was like a little kid almost, where he was like, if I had this when I was a kid. And Garrett was hilarious. He's like, you wouldn't have been going to the beaches often, huh, Dave? It was hilarious. It was so cute. And I was like, that's true. Like, we need to remember that we can go watch Stardom's show on the 23rd if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can.
Right. We can.
And a lot of people had to tape trade for that. And
and that's what we talk about all the time. Like, there's so much wrestling now that if you don't like something, you can go find something. You can find it somewhere else, hopefully. I mean, sure, there, sometimes money runs into that and you can't always, you can't subscribe to everything. And then you kind of, like, a lot of the things that we have an issue with is just finding the time to watch things. But now that I don't watch, because I don't watch WWE on a regular basis, then I can fit in the Jersey J Cup. Like, it took me forever to get to that, but I've got it now. I can go check out, like, because I have the Fight Plus subscription, like I can check out Wrestling Revolver, or I can check out a Black Label Pro show, or there's like so much stuff that I can have access to. Or if sometimes there's stuff on YouTube that they'll be like, hey, you go check out this match. And so it's nice to see. And again, he said there's something for everyone. Exactly. Like, if you take a few minutes and put in the effort to find it, you can find something.
It's just like music or movies. A lot of people are like, there's nothing good and new. It's like, then you're not looking hard enough, because there's so much out there that you can fill your void.
Daza said you can fit in Stardom. Yes,
I will.
The wrestling industry is awesome. We talk about this all the time. We are so spoiled, and we are so lucky. We have access to all of these things.
We whinge about a lot of stuff, so we have to remember how great things really are.
we have so much access that people that were tape trading would love to have, and I believe Daza was talking about being a tape trader before, and so
I have I mean, again, I
yeah,
have a
and
good
then so
friend
we're very lucky to live in this, and we're lucky to live live in a time where there are companies who enjoy working with each other. That we are having these shows where there's a AEW New Japan crossover, or where New Japan is having crossover shows with Stardom, and there's
and
stuff with.
Impact. Well, I mean,
There's
Impact
Impact is involved. There's going to be so there's all these, so we can get these dream matches that don't need stories. We can have Vikingo versus Kenny Omega.
Sometimes the story is the match. I think that people need to remember that the story is the match sometimes.
Yeah.
Kenny versus Vikingo didn't need to.
Yeah.
Even if you
And
didn't know this,
it
it
technically
had a
had a
story, but
story.
even if you didn't know it, you could watch that match in a vacuum and enjoy it if you were someone that enjoyed that kind of thing.
Yeah. And Daza said, anyone that wants movie recommendations, I can oblige. Yeah.
Daza's your man. And we have a we do
Daza
have,
said, I'm still waiting for Tate Sarah from 1992.
I bet.
And Kitty says, I still got some old tapes, don't even need them anymore. Now you have to find a VCR to watch.
You know what? That's the thing. We don't have a VCR. We got rid of it and didn't think, our last one and didn't think about it. It's like, oh crap, we have all these VHS and we have no VCR.
Oh, I have a box full of VHSs, and they have like, some of them have like that. There's like movies and stuff, but then there's wrestling episodes of things that are on there, like Raws that Nikki and we went to, and you could see our signs on TV, those type of things.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to actually get to like visit a friend at their home where they had their like old WCW and all there's like ECW tapes and stuff like that, still kind of off to the corner. And I just like, it's like you look at that and it's like, that was but that was the way that we did it. That was media. But now we've got this, and I think it's amazing. And we do try to focus on all the good stuff that comes out of it, because there's great fans, great wrestling. I mean, I am in no way like worried that this, like, New Japan, I've seen, this will be my 4th New Japan show, I think. They've never 3 shows, they've never let me down.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to let me down this time. No. And I don't ultimately think that Tony's going to let me down either, because Tony's never let me down. 4 years, he hasn't let me down. No. But I did get a little, there's a lot, I got a little grumpy about that being, they're going to focus on that because we're sold out and you already have my money. You don't have to care. And then I'm like,
they do have to care, because Tony is just like that. He cares about the pay-per-views that he puts out.
My friend told me that would be the worst thing to do. You want to put a good foot forward before you're going to try and sell at a major stadium. Yeah. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll be reasonable then. Whatever. Fine, logical and sensible.
Get out of your WWE brain.
I know.
So Kenny says he still has VHS players from '99. See, there you go. It says Tony. TK is a true fan of the business at heart, and he does what's best for the show. Yes, I agree.
I think
every time. And so he strives to, I think part of it's just because that's the type of like, he is a wrestling fan first and foremost, but also like that's his name on the line. Like, he's putting his company on the line to bring these shows. And I think, and his relationships, like we said, with he's got
the relationship with New Japan.
He's not going to risk that by overlooking it for whatever he does at Wembley.
It took a while. I mean,
it's not to say that he won't try to top Forbidden Door with whatever he does at Wembley, but I don't think he should.
I mean, that's business.
But I don't think that he's gonna let New Japan, the Forbidden Door, suffer. Well, especially because so many people, Forbidden Door, the first show was they said was the best pay-per-view of last year. Like, he's gonna want to top that or follow that up. Like, he's not gonna just put together a lackluster card. Like, and
it's like 30 or 40K, I think, is what the number is. I gotta look. I actually decided to keep my WrestleTix subscription because for $2 a month,
well, you're getting access to a lot of cool stuff.
I get a ton of information,
and then maybe if I get the
pre-sale, the pre-sale, he does the pre-sale code.
That's what I'm saying. I can get the pre-sale ticket for you if he ever comes back to Charlotte. He hasn't been to Charlotte since first Battle of the Belts last year.
I think you should check the schedule. I think I saw that.
I hope they did.
check the schedule.
I
Yes,
hope
might
that
be
they
doing
added it
something.
because we were talking. It was funny because the first time they came to Charlotte, I was at Elton John. So I've only seen AEW in Charlotte once, but I've seen them at Daly's Place twice because
I've got to. Oh,
I went
that's
to
cool
fight.
though. But
I
that's
went
cool.
I went to Fight for the Fallen for Nikki's birthday, and then we went to Double or Nothing, the first pay-per-view after the pandemic, when they had the fans back.
Well, and I'm just jumping straight over May. I've got Dynamite and Rampage on May 10th. So we've got right here, right downtown at LCA. So
Kenny says the concept is literally amazing. Just the crossover appeal alone sells tickets. Yes.
It was such
Adam
a
Cole versus
great
Okada
show.
type of stuff is always hype no matter what. Those types of stars are going at it. And Mercedes versus Hayter or Britt or a Stardom girl. Yeah, they could do so many cool things. And so I'm really looking forward to whatever it is that they do for sure. But yeah, so there's just so much good stuff right now.
I know. It's
like great. I know that because I still am super let down by the Cody stuff as a Cody fan and somebody that's watched him when he was I was at All In and watched his ROH and I saw him at my own indie show. So like that part of me, I think that's why I was really really heated, is just because I have seen the work. Like I was at, because I was lucky enough to get tickets to All In. I saw him at my local indie, saw him in Ring of Honor. So I saw him up close doing these things. And so it just felt like it felt like a slap in the face, not as a fan, but to Cody, because it felt like it feels like it was punishment to him.
Even me, I am not a Cody fan, but I am a fan of wrestling and I am a fan of storytelling, and they blew it.
Yep.
They blew they got the denouement, and then they just the last act sucked.
Yes.
Terrible.
Yes.
That movie, it was one of those things where you're like, that movie was great right up to the final act.
Right. Yeah. Yes. But again, like I was saying, there's so much good stuff. So now I don't have to worry about WWE.
Exactly.
I can go spend my time watching.
And I can say that I did at this point.
You did your time.
I did my due diligence this year. I gave it one more try, and it's not for me. That's what I tell everyone.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. I have what I like.
Right.
Yep.
And it's not that. And so
it's not that at all.
No.
And now I have a lot more free time to go catch up on all the other stuff I missed.
Yes.
I gotta catch up on Strong, dang it.
Yeah, God, I gotta do that too. I still have 4 shows from the collective to watch. Gotta figure out when to watch the WrestleCon stuff, because I really want to see the TJPW matches. So I can kind of get a glimpse of what they do. So,
all right.
Yes, there's good stuff. And then MLW is doing stuff. We've been watching that. Like next week is
right.
Next week is that's the dumpster match, right? Isn't that what it is? It's it's Mance and Enzo and I forget who else. I don't know. It looked really awesome, and I'm just glad that they're MLW for the hour we get. It's fun. I enjoy it. I hope they figure out TV, because, like we said before, the more competition, the better. The more places that people can be on TV, the better. And so
rising tide raises all ships.
Yes, it's good for everybody. But yes, so I guess we are going to wrap this up. So we won't go 3 hours like we did last week. We were only going to go 90 minutes today, and then, we got excited. We got excited about JayEW and New Japan. So
see, it's so exciting we can't stop talking about it.
Yes, I hope MLW figures it out. Yeah, I really do, and they've got some really good people over there. I really like Mance Warner a lot. I want him to move him away from Enzo and let him do what he does. I'm glad SGC is there now.
Oh, nice.
They've got Alex Hammerstone kind of doing some stuff with them, because they've got Raven's faction, which is they've got that. There's Microman. There's they've got the featherweight division, so they're doing a little bit of stuff with the women's stuff. So yeah. And Daza said, "Oh, and Vince gets to run UFC." Well, good for him. I'm not an MMA fan, so it does not. But I
know we skipped over the big sale news. But
we were kind of talking about it. But listen,
everybody on this network has said everything you could possibly say about it. So go listen to some of the other shows on the Fight Game Media Network. Go check out our Patreon for $5 a month. Everybody's there are better takes in the world than ours, I think, on that one.
Right. So Kenny says you'll tune in next time. Got my notifications. Great. We are here every Sunday at 1:00. And I'm so glad that you enjoyed it and that you
Welcome.
stayed for the whole thing and that you were active and that you subscribed. I'm very excited. So thank you so much for that, Kenny. We will enjoy having you in the
we
in
love
the
having you
chat.
guys hang out. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
and that
You're
you
really
enjoyed the
nice.
show. Thank you guys so much. Truly, we had a lot of fun. And whatever you're celebrating today, I hope that you have a great day. And if you're not celebrating anything, have a great Sunday. Enjoy your wrestling. Happy
That's right.
wrestling.
And
Have
we'll
a good week.
we'll see you next week at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on the Fight Game Media
Yes.
channel.
Bye. Thanks for hanging
Exclusively.
out.
Have a great day.